Well, here.
That's young.
Could do mic checks around the horn real quick for Brenda.
Brenda, it's Angel.
Hello.
Dave.
Hi, David.
Hey, Brenda, it's Jack. Mark.
Hey, Jack.
Mark.
Okay. Hi. Are you two and Thomas be sharing one?
And Tom's in Vegas.
Oh, okay. Awesome. And Cassandra said that she is coming at the end of her class and she may be a little late, but she is coming.
Okay.
Good, if we can, rise for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I could ask everybody just to stay standing for a moment, we had some unfortunate news for the district here. Gary Moyer, who was the district manager here for the better part of 30 years, I think, passed away unexpectedly late last week. So if I could just ask everybody for a moment of silence for his memory and everything that he's done for this community and the district. Thank you very much. All right, Angel, if you can do a roll call for me, please.
Sure. Greg Filak.
Here.
David Hume.
Present.
Jack McLaughlin.
Here.
And I know Cassandra is coming in late and Tom is not here.
All right.
And we do have audience members.
Perfect. For public comments, for anybody in the room that would like to come up and speak.
Approval of agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry, we have to approve the agenda first. We're keeping that back. That motion on the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, now public comments. If anybody would like to come up and just state your name up with the microphone, if you could just give your name and address, and if you could try to keep it to 3 minutes for us.
Gladly.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Danny Anderson. I
Is that
reside
one?
in 206.
Push the button and hold it. Push and hold it.
There you go.
Good evening. My name is Danny Anderson. I reside at 2061 Celebration Boulevard. An address you may not know, it's Island. I have 2 questions for the board and then a brief background. First is, what steps are necessary and who must accomplish them for the district to take acceptance and maintenance of street trees, of these trees? And once the district does accept those trees, how quickly will the dead and dying be replaced?
So we do have an action for tonight. I don't recall the trees on. No.
No, this is what,
Yeah.
where do you live?
I was one of the first residents, directly
he's got
across
you
from
in
the
1A.
elementary school. These trees, on
Every day.
yes, they're dead, they're dying. Even the new trees planted at the school, there's already a couple of their sticks.
Okay.
It's been suggested that there's Madamy's problems.
Mhm.
No. Madamy has extended no warranty on any landscape materials to the residents. Staff has suggested, your staff has suggested that you're working with Madamy. I'm not sure what that means. We still have sticks. And I just wondered if there's any resolution on this.
So I can say just at a high level, we're aware there are multiple deficiencies within Island Village. That's why we have an outstanding bond. Part of what we're accepting tonight isn't the trees. I apologize, I thought I had that on the agenda. We're aware that there are issues with a lot of the trees. A lot of them are still under warranty, and before Madamy can turn them over to the district, they have to be in, Jan, what's the right verbiage here, in reasonable condition. I mean, they can't be turning over dead material, broken material, let me put it that way in layman's terms. So they are still in Madamy's care. Madamy does still have to replace them. That's why you'll see a lot of them around there. I know there's the one down the promenade that has the ratchet straps on it. That's still Madamy's because they realize that the roots haven't grown into it yet, and we told them we're not accepting it. And a lot of the dead ones that are around there. And trust me, we've had multiple conversations on that one, but others as well. And it's not just the trees, there are other materials as well, as we'll talk about. We're aware that there are a lot of deficiencies, and that's why we haven't accepted it again on behalf of the community. So they are still in Madamy's care.
Madamy is not caring for them.
Yeah.
There's still steps. Is there any time? I can tell you the heat is getting ratcheted up. We can,
I can say the ones at the school, which is Mattamy and one, the infrastructure part, there's two Matamys out there. You got the builders and then you got the infrastructure. Those will be probably replaced within about 3 weeks. From Cherry Lake. Ones in front of the houses. We've sent them right, me and Mark looked at every tree out there. There's some trees that aren't even the right kind. You know, some are dead,
they're planted too low, some are irrigated,
some are leaning like crazy.
So Mattamy certainly has a financial motivation to get these turned over. Jim, a question for you, and you don't need to answer it now, but if you can take it back to your board. Does CROA have the ability through covenants enforcement, even though these aren't turned over yet, they're still in residential areas to do covenants enforcement items?
I don't think that happened.
Okay.
I am chair of the covenants committee.
I'm sorry. I don't know why you wouldn't. They're residential areas.
But they're not owned by the residents.
Right.
Still owned by
That strip
Mattamy.
of land is on,
Okay.
it appears it's under ownership of the district.
Okay. So,
We may be able to take dramatic steps. I mean, we're still doing COs and they've got about 20 some houses that are fixing to pop
Yeah.
up and we could just say,
do we have the legal authority, even though they're not tied directly to those particular areas, just to,
The county generally has been working with us,
okay,
so it's certainly working with the county.
and some of those trees. Some of those trees, when I do the CO, are dead when I'm doing the CO. Which means they probably weren't planted 7-10 days prior.
Okay.
And I've got it all wrote down, a dead tree. It's like,
so if after the meeting, if you and Jan and Mark can get together and figure out how we start dial that, because I do know, I mean, I've been getting emails from residents about their ones are dead and other residents are saying they're too alive because nobody's been pruning them and nobody's been maintaining them because they're still under Matt's care, so we're getting kind of on both fronts. So, yeah, sure.
And just one more thing, I want to shout out to Russ. He and I have had some nice email exchanges on his problem bridge and streetlights.
and we've got, a company called, Steelhead Construction, which did a lot of rework down there, similar to that. I got with him today. He's gonna have, fortunately, he's working out of town, but got some good guys. Supposed to get contact tomorrow, so maybe he can be there, who knows, Friday or Monday, and we're gonna take the whole call.
Yeah. I saw the conduit,
And the wire's still not moving at all.
so thank you.
Quick redirect to Jim, is there a CROA, Mattamy Island Village rep?
We just appointed one, there hasn't been one, so. Yes, are you for CCTV? That any rep?
TBD, probably getting to that point.
I think it was a discussion item I was gonna bring up just with general Mattamy issues, so.
Okay, because
discussion
I
item.
just would
Yeah.
want you guys.
Based on this, I think there might be a need.
Yeah, agreed.
We've been
Yeah.
seeing, like I said, we've been getting past 90 days have been
Will you
a
loop,
steady drumbeat of
will
traffic.
you loop TCC in on this, because they're responsible for this whole mess too.
Well, we'll take that as an action item in the discussion
Again,
points. Yeah. All right. Who else from the audience? Gary, come on up.
Gary Hudspeth, 1471 Resolute Street. I note with interest on your agenda, there's a discussion about a management RFQ, request for qualifications. If you proceed with that, it would lead to the next step of a request for proposal for a new management company to provide services to the CDD. I would say caution, because should you proceed with an RFP and select a new management company, there is a risk that you could lose your current well-valued employees under Infomart, some of which are sitting here today. They have excellent talent, decades of corporate memory, and know celebration inside and out. I would hate to lose that expertise. Now, I'm not speaking for them, but should you select a new management company, I know from experience that employees often will transition to a new company if the pay and benefits are better. But I suggest a alternative rather than go the RFP. If you're satisfied with your company now, you recently had a performance evaluation that was published, and you discussed it, but have you created a plan of action to identify with Infomark specific improvements that you asked for and put a timeline on that? Because I suggest you do that first and see if you get improvement, if you're looking for improvement, before you take the bigger step of risking loss of good personnel with a new company. Give the company time to improve and show that improvement before you take a bigger step. That's my recommendation.
Cool. Thank you. Anybody else from the audience? Come on.
Chris Todd, 6870 Sundrop Street, Harmony. Just want to introduce myself. I'm the new principal of Celebration High School. I was appointed about 3 weeks ago. I love CDD meetings because they're very much like educational meetings. You got all the acronyms going on and plans of action. So it's great, like good times. Being new, I'm learning Celebration, the school, and the community. One of the things I really want to try to do is get our kids out in the community for events that you guys are hosting. Community service hours, but bridging that gap because Celebration High School is not very far, but it's still very far out from the main part of Celebration, unlike Celebration K-8. So really trying to bridge that gap to get our kids involved in the actual community. So if you guys have events that you need help, volunteers, please email me and I'll be more than happy to get that out to our college and career counselors so that we can get our kids involved in the community.
They know how to pour concrete to fix it.
Always. We can do it as a CT program, and you can try to work that in, maybe.
Have any certified arborists?
I know some parents might be able to do that actually. But I just want to introduce myself. I'm here to help make Celebration the best high school. I will say our proposed school grade that from last school year, they just released them by the districts. The state's going to release it in December, I believe. Celebration High School is going to be an A high school. Awesome. So that's some relatively good news. Just gotta keep that's but yeah, if you have any questions, please. I know Greg has my email, and if he wants to share with the rest of the board, I'm more than happy to chat with anybody if you have any questions.
I believe, Greg, you volunteered to play defensive end. Nice.
We gotta work on that next. There's a lot of things to work on, but yeah, sports, yeah. Got some work there a little bit. We'll get there.
When you got what, 4 or 5 national merit finalists?
Yeah, we had
trade off on
five
the-
national merit finalists. We had 2 kids score perfect scores on AP exams last year, which there's like 247 kids for the AP Spanish exam and 350 something for the AP 2D art, I believe. So a lot of great things academically going on.
Terrific. Appreciate you coming in, and certainly I'll get you in contact with email, particularly with Russ and Angel. So Angel runs the district and Russ is our field guy. So between the two of them, I think pretty much anything you might need.
Cool.
Maybe he wants to hit. So thanks
Thank
for
you very
coming.
much.
Are you coming tomorrow night? To the Crow meeting?
Did you invite him?
I'm going to if he's not.
No, Mondays and Wednesdays are dad night, so I do baseball for my son, and then Thursday night we have Dr. Shanoff will be at Celebration on Thursday night.
So that's a no. That's okay.
That's a no.
Can I have your card?
I'm sure.
Make sure-
Yeah, I know.
Make sure you wear a Kevlar to the Crow meeting.
Yes. Sorry. Gary, come on up.
I'm Gary Whedon. I'll just say 510 Canvas Street. But I live at 1728 Virginia Drive in Orlando. I've been here since March in my current capacity. I've met a lot of you guys already, catching up with old friends back here from way back when I was. This is a return back to Celebration, which some of you may know. I was at school when it opened in '97 when it was a K-12 school, and spent 6 years there. And then I was over at Celebration High School for another 10 years until about 2013, where I was a dean and assistant principal at the high school when the high school opened as well. And then I've been at I've been at Kissimmee Middle School, I've been at Narcoossee Middle School, and really jumped at the opportunity to come back to Celebration. And as I get more into it, Greg invited me to come, months ago, and it just hasn't worked out that I've been able to be here. And it's probably better because now I feel like I'm getting a little bit better feel for where we are as a town and a community. And and some reminders of why, I wanted to come back to Celebration, and just even being here and hearing, just the civic involvement and how involved the community is. It's a real opportunity to have a school that's kind of a throwback and it's really a community school. So we have a lot of great things going on. We as well will be in A again next year for, I believe, the 30, yeah, I think it's 18 years, I believe, straight of being an A school over there. And so we want to continue on that tradition. As you guys know, the school has grown a lot over the years. We brought in a lot of students who don't live in the town of Celebration, but the school's always done a really good job in embracing that, as has the town. So I'm just excited to be here. Again, if there's, speak with Greg a lot, and Tanya being our PTA president, I'm in touch with them a lot. So you can go through them, or if anything you guys need, just let us know how we can help out as a school. I'm really excited to be back and working with Crow some too, but I can't come tomorrow night either.
Probably better.
Appreciate it. Anybody else in the room with public comments? Why don't you? Can we just note that?
My name's Rusty Stoll. I'm at 826 Lake Elton Drive. And I was concerned about a little island in the lake that we had. And it was just dredged. So I always liked it. It was formed by one of the storms. I think it was Charlie or something. And it's always been, I think it was chopped up once. And I came in to pay my EECD.
The water bill.
And I said, who's the guy that ordered this? And Russ said, well, that would be me. And so I understand it wasn't for improving the circulation of the lake or anything. It was because somebody complained there was an eyesore. And it's been like a sanctuary for birds, migrating birds, stuff like that. And it's kind of unique. That's my house right there. It's unique to the lakes here, and I've been in that house since it was Lake 11. And it used to be a retention pond. Now it was like a lake. So I did an informal survey amongst the Celebration residents. And out of 31 people, 21 said, if and when the island comes back, instead of spending the money that takes 5-6 days, 4 guys, and 12 tons of dirt to take it down a foot, doesn't really resolve the issue. It's going to keep coming back. 2/3 of the people said they'd like to keep the island. And I understand it can get junk in there, got a basketball once and a frisbee, but Russ said they could take care of that stuff. And even the guys working on it or ordering it said, yeah, it was nice. So I just, how many complaints does it take to spend all that money to take out an island that just going to come back? And it's essential for the animals. So that's my thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments in the room? Brenda, do we have anybody online with public comments?
We do have a couple people online, but no one has raised their hand.
All right. We'll go on to third-party reports. Crow.
That'd be me. Just wanted to thank the CCD board again for having the joint meeting. Thank you for putting up with a lively discussion with us. We really appreciate it. The two things that were asked are on the agenda for tomorrow night. They're actually the first two actions that we'll vote on, which is to give the CCD engineer access to Lot F And to approve, reject, turning over Croa's privately held common areas to a potential celebration municipality.
Cool.
That's all I have to say.
That's okay.
Questions?
Any for Crow? All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Angel, we did have one thing, I'm sorry, before we let him go. You mentioned sidewalk repairs in some of the areas.
Yeah, I mean, it's on the agenda. We can talk about it now because I don't know how long he's gonna stay. But we have damaged sidewalks, vendors not repairing damages. A lot of them are Crowa vendors. Not Crowa vendors, but you know,
Right,
they
yeah.
hire them to do it in front of, and where do we have them all?
No, Crowa took care of the damaged sidewalks in front of Spring Lake,
Okay,
but we've got across the street at, I think it's 1430, one of the office buildings. We've got pictures of the walls sitting there. They broke 15 panels, I think. I think you were down there with that too.
But
They
that's
fixed
not-
like 3 and then they stopped work.
That would be Crow though in that area, right?
No, that's
I don't know.
Celebration Boulevard.
On the boulevard.
the other side of the
Yeah,
businesses.
that's commercial businesses.
And then the other one is Evander Square. They broke, I don't know how many panels. And it's, you know, we emailed,
called.
gone nowhere. Some of it was broke like literally 2 months after we just did that huge sidewalk job on the boulevard for $315,000.
Mhm.
They went and started painting all their buildings in the front, just driving right on it with the
So
walls.
does this
So the
go,
hybrid.
let's go there, Evander Square, so community condominium association, is that where it goes to?
We talked to the managers down there before. Elizabeth sent numerous emails, pictures, all that stuff, and it's just.
Have a legal demand.
Well, that's why I'm bringing it up. Is it time to is the board okay with expending?
Well, now, Vander, would that
Legal.
fall under Crowa's purview, their contractors or not?
I believe
Yeah.
that's.
I
Let's say
don't know.
one time, we had this years ago and we actually assessed. We threatened to assess and then assess the individual that didn't do this. So you have a legal remedy to be able to do that. You could assess Evander Square if you needed to, if they did not respond.
Well, that's what I'm wondering if Vander is, because it's a private condominium association, they may not fall legally under Crowa.
That sounds like it's in the
No,
Crows.
Yeah.
They are Crow.
It's the association.
Yeah, they're under Crow.
So that's why we're bringing it to the board. We've exhausted every avenue to try and get them to just fix them. And I think we've even offered to fix them, but
Right.
they pay for it. And no response, from either. So it's coming to you to see if you want to exhaust legal, to send letters and kind of go from there.
The other big place, I knew there was 3 and I'm thinking, where's the, is, the condos down in Artisan Park.
Yes.
I mean, it wasn't 2 weeks after we had K&D do, all the sidewalks were bad in there. Here they come, painting every building out there. They have. There's probably 60 panels busted out there.
So Jan, if you can do, I think,
Okay.
just an all-encompassing one,
Mhm.
but it also like, from a process perspective, we had talked about this a few months ago, I don't know if it went anywhere. I don't know, maybe Jim and Jack, if you guys want to try to tackle it.
Yeah,
As Crowa's contractors are coming in and bringing in high lifts and stuff, it seems to be what is busting these things up.
we have a governance committee at ARC meeting on Thursday night. And I think rather than just the boilerplate that they have in there under the design guidelines for structural changes, we're gonna have to put a checklist that they check off and agree to do each of these things in order.
Well, and part of it was I heard at the Crow meeting a couple months ago, on the front end of their comments was, well, from, I can't remember who one of the board members was, well, we don't know for sure that it was the vendor that did it. Could they have been busted up ahead of time anyway? I got it, but I think if we include it in the process of, hey, if somebody's gonna bring in a high lift, that way Russ has opportunity before they bring it out to take pictures, and that way at the end, there's no question what's going on.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, 2 things. Number one, any company with a high lift is very familiar with the process of putting down boards in order to drive on those.
Correct.
Damage, so it's not out of the ordinary to request that. Number 2, I think for efficiency purposes, you're gonna get the same answer from us. You try 1, 2, 3 times, whatever it is. If not, then just put it in a consent agenda that you're gonna go and put a demand letter out.
And that's fine. If that's the board, if that's how if you're okay with handling it that way, we can absolutely do it that way.
I'll pay twice for it.
If you would like to give your board a warning, and I can certainly email Cindy ahead of time so that you're not getting legal notices before you're hearing from us that you're getting legal notices. So,
Appreciate that.
And anytime we see work going on, Russ and the team go out, they take pictures before because we know they're out there, and then we'll go out and take pictures after. So we are aware, but that's the only way we are aware is if we're out in the community and we see them working. It's not like somebody calls us and says, hey, we have this work going on. So,
And it's gonna be directed to the adjoining property owner, whatever that.
yeah.
all right. Anything else for CROA? Corporation, I don't think we've got anything. Just kind of throw an answer.
No.
We're waiting as fast as we can for growth.
For CROA.
Second,
All right,
that was the second motion that I talked about.
Yeah.
You were obviously intent on this.
I heard you. I just didn't know if we had anything else internally. Sheriff's Department, we don't have a rep here today, but we met with Captain Wilkinson Thursday. Had staff as well as Lauren and Cindy were here. So really two big topics. One was our discussion, I think 2 meetings ago on e-scooters and e-bikes. I'd asked them to pull together all the known laws and kind of line them up and see what is on the books, what isn't on the books. Their attorney got together and sent about 8 pages of somewhat discombobulated stuff. That made it clear that even the deputies aren't 100% sure what could or couldn't be enforced. So the next thing I asked them to do is I said, that's great, at least you know what's on the books. Can you now get a 1-pager cheat sheet that, if they can distribute it on their social media, we'd certainly be happy to echo it. I think just getting it out to the community as to what is and is not allowed with some of these things with the bikes. And finally, if there are some obvious gaps and seams of things that we would like to entertain taking to the county commission as an additional ordinance to help focus these a little bit more, just like happened with the commercial scooters a few years ago. I asked them to send those notes, and Jan will probably pull you into the conversation with their attorney just to help figure out where the threads are at and what's reasonable that we could do and bring some recommendations back. I'm hoping by next meeting, if not by the meeting after, that we could tackle those. The other one was, big topic was on the had obviously some emails and comments and meetings about trespassing on CDD property. CROA had some of the same questions, so that's why I'd asked them to the meeting as well. Jan's got some email traffic, I think, from the Sheriff's Department attorney, which kind of trumped my conversation with Captain. So I think if you can keep pulling the thread with them as to
Yeah,
what's
still trying to reach an attorney. I've got another contact over there I started trying with. We did get the community service group has a trespass package that you can automatically trespass, so they don't have to ask someone, gee, are you okay with not keeping this person here? But there's signage requirements, so I'm trying to confirm with the attorneys what kind of signage and where we have to put it.
Okay. The general layman 30-second answer I got from the captain was a lot of these are usually handled as more one-offs, just doing blanket trespasses, particularly on a community scale as opposed to individual houses or individual businesses. It's kind of tough. So he did think that would still be part of the answer, that we just need to communicate with him.
Wait, did we get our roof fixed?
Yeah, was it better?
Not sure the motion's that like.
Oh, there it is.
That was on the agenda.
That's literally on the agenda now.
I mean,
That's
that's
and
my
that-
report. It's like
That's actually a new one.
Is it?
Yeah.
That's an old new one.
Oh, it leaked
It
there?
has leaked there.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I wanna say that.
All right, well, we can bump that up on the agenda item. All right, so Jan, if you and I
I'll
can
keep
continue
following
to
up.
tackle that
Yeah.
with their attorney. Okay.
Good thing you brought your umbrella. You could just sit there under your umbrella.
Anything else for Sheriff's, again, if they're not here, but any other questions since I engaged with them?
We have anything to put there to catch.
All right, do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So move.
Second.
Any questions? All
Wait a
in favor?
minute, what were we saying?
Consent agenda.
I'm gonna shop. Okay, so I didn't hear you.
Voted to spend $1 million. Consent agenda.
The
Oh,
consent agenda.
okay.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
I talked to you now.
Business matters, 7A.
Yeah, Danny Bumpus is here. You see it in your agenda. The board had asked for upstairs, the area that we have upstairs, to see what some other uses would be. So he put together a proposal and he can go through that with you all.
Danny Bump, 7607 Front Street. I did submit a proposal. Have you guys been on the second floor?
No.
You haven't? And you haven't? Oh, okay.
Anyway, it was about 900 field trip, yes, sir, field trip. 900 square. The IT room is up there, that's about 100 square. We built some walls to hide all the AC units and water heaters. About 500 square space. One, just workstation is something for privacy. The access is a single stair access from the shop. Looked at trying to wall it off, but it makes it real difficult for the staff on a daily basis. We have to go some type of separate one. So right now, I think it is just going to take. And one thing I was worried about at one time, that when I go to the bathroom, I forgot there's a bathroom outside. That if the partner or somebody else after hours wouldn't have to come back. So
Right.
it's doable. We'd have to try air conditioning, some plumbing, but electrical. But one question was bidding. Is that something that we have to get at least 3 bids or 3 requests?
We would definitely try.
Yeah.
If we can. I mean, I know it's hard to get a lot of bids. I know everybody's busy, but yeah, we would definitely at least try to get at least 3.
Okay, well, I included bidding in the proposal.
Yep. Yeah.
And we've got several contractors that work with all the time. If we ask 6 of them, we might get through.
That sounds.
So we would need, as you distributed the proposal that we go over, that 3,000 for architectural, 1,500 for maybe 1,800 for formation.
Any need for structural here?
That was designed for storage at 200 pounds a square foot live load, with office at 50. So,
Okay, yeah, you're within dollars.
or designed by Ford, but that's another no structure. But there's the single exit is fine. It's within the maximum distance. Single exit. As long as it's less than 5 occupants, 150 square feet per person, and 500, that's 3.5 or something like that. We don't really handicap that, but we would do the elevator.
And I think I know the answer to this, but the 5 people, up to 5 people would be planned in it. That doesn't materially change our parking.
Shouldn't.
And so I've had enough check that. Mark.
Okay, Mark.
I think there's enough shared parking that it should be potentially good, but we'll have to look at the original plans. Okay. How that was set there. And then we would have to have some sort of occupancy sign because that 5 is a magic number, right?
I don't think they could. So just, we did the permit, we figured out that it's 120 person. And you're not gonna have a board meeting up there.
No.
So,
No.
Well, it depends on the roof.
something different.
That is true.
We're done.
The only other question I had was just on the designs. Is there a reason you couldn't just box in some of the utility where you walled off like the entire area? Reason you can't just do like a bump out box in type of thing? Is it? I'm seeing that, maybe I'm just reading the wall alignments here. I mean, it looks like they're going pretty far east and west of some of those, but as long as that's the plan, I'm just misreading it.
I'll get up there and see if we can get a little more things.
I'm just trying to kind of maximize the space, nothing that's gonna be unkosher or ill-advised, but just make sure we're maximizing the
I'll get
space.
up in there. I didn't know.
Like I say, okay. You got it?
Okay.
Actions.
Okay. Any other questions for Danny? Mark, you got any thoughts, concerns?
No.
All right. Got a motion?
Move to approve it.
Second. Any other discussion?
Yeah, what are we going to use that space for? What's the plan? Why are we spending?
We talked about it 2 or 3 meetings ago. The sheriff's department is interested in co-sharing the space. They've expressed interest in putting,
How much are they going to pay?
that would be part of the negotiation with them. And for what we want to charge, I mean, the baseline understanding is it needs to be a reasonable rate. You can't give it to them for free and can't give it to them for $1 million a month. So it have to be a reasonable share rate.
Yeah, I think I want to know how much we're getting for all the money that we're spending to make it happen.
And it might not just be for them, I think there might be also a partnership with other community organizations that might need a temporary space. That would be,
But yeah, I know like when we, had the issue in Celebration Foundation, we used in this space, it was pretty loud. So I don't know about insulating the sound because that would aggravate, or disturb the workers, for the district, Infomart. So I don't know what it would sound like up there. People are, well, you can only have 5 though, right?
Yeah, and it's
not
over
same
the,
as-
I know you haven't seen the area, but if you go
Mhm.
out of this building, it's actually over the maintenance, the shop.
Oh, it's not over this here. Okay.
No.
actually over your office.
It comes over my office a
Oh,
little
okay.
bit, but the rest is kind of back in the corner, kind of, if you will.
Well, and I'll say this just in open comments here. I mean, I am more interested in the ability to have a partnership with the sheriff's department and have a sustained presence of their deputies here in town. Because one of the things we're always hearing is, we don't see a lot of deputies. I'm less interested in making money off of this than I am in what's the value to the community of the sheriff's department having a substation out here where they're going to get a presence.
Yeah, I see that, but it's the side of town, like, I would not know that in North Village if they're over here, or maybe back where you live, or. So, look, go ahead, I'm ready to vote.
Any other comments? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Then,
All right. Russ, you got a second going on over here?
You know,
second one?
Yeah, it's coming over the chair now too.
Wow, you never told me before, I'm sitting.
I don't ever recall that, but it could have been before my time, but this is a new one
I've been
for
there
me.
before when it's raining.
since I've been here. That's
I've been
new.
driving.
All right, item 70, resolution 2023-17, real property and improvements for Island Village. Jan or Angel, who's
Mark, I'll let you explain the area, just to give a quick background.
Yes, this is an area that I think has been requesting to turn over for probably close to a year. I think our initial request was last October, got out there, the front list, kind of be slowly pick away at it. But it basically is described as kind of the storm and open space, rec space tracks. So it includes 5 tracks. Each of the ponds is comprised of 2 tracks. One track is the water surface, so it's kind of a big track. That's the track that goes around it, but include the bank, sidewalk, landscaping. That would be on both ponds in phase 1A. And then it also includes, if you're coming into Island Village on the left, you've got the Beekwood bike trail, that stretch in through there. So we've done a punch list, they've addressed everything except just finishing off the inset lights that are in steps. They're there, but apparently some of them don't work. They're trying to get parts for them. The second item is barriers, which weren't part of the original punch list, but since then, this resolution has them install them first time last week. AC, their landscaper, and they were kind of surprised that there weren't 20 barriers. Some areas from 4'6".
so were we.
So the cases such as they were paid for, you're gonna put them in. I will say that I haven't got any pushback from cases, so they're gonna go ahead and put them in on the sidewalk around the back side of the pond. We're
trees are within 10-12 feet of the sidewalk. Original plans did not show the various those locations. So they had indicated they would not install this given the resolution is now. And the third item was some as-built on the irrigation system. Russell to track of zones, control and whatnot. The irrigation plans have a spec sheet and there requires final as-built to be turned in digital format, but Russell's okay with builds. By those as well. Dan's prepared a closing agreement. Those three things. First, that once oil is determined over, days.
Yeah, like 90 days to finish this up. And on the lighting, they hired outside counsel to get this finished up in the last couple of weeks. And they agreed to everything that you all asked for on the finishing up. Gave 90 days, they thought that was all doable in that time period. On the lighting, apparently some of the parts are part of the warranty, which is why it's taking so long to get the parts. There should be additional warranty left by the time.
So. I'm looking at page 71, and it lists landscaping, which you would include trees, which I thought I heard before were not included in the turnover. Lighting, which is definitely identified in here.
Maybe the wall lighting.
And it doesn't stipulate, I guess is my concern. If there are exceptions to this, I'm not seeing them noted in here.
There's a separate post conveyance agreement, which we sent out today. I have copies.
Okay.
Sent to you.
Okay, sorry, I didn't
Yeah.
get the,
It's just an agreement that gives them 90 days. They sent a signed copy this afternoon. Just got it before I came here.
They signed it last.
I thought it said right there. Oh, I thought they did. Landscaping listed out, but they don't.
And Mark's been on.
Did they
top
say
of it
what
with the list
landscaping?
The landscaping is the trees and the shrubs that are around the ponds,
Oh, so not the street trees.
not the street trees. Yeah, this doesn't include any right-of-way shoulder tracks along.
Okay, so it's excluded because it's not part of the description.
That's not
In the
part of
track.
one of the tracks that's turned over. Yeah, it's only 5 tracks that there was 5 or 6 tracks that they're.
Yeah, 6 tracks.
So those, I think those will be probably coming sooner than later, the rest of the tracks. Good luck to work.
Yeah, they have not started to push on those. I agree, it's probably coming soon.
So everything's good to go as far as you're concerned.
Yeah, we have a certificate that Mark signed that everything else is good to go. And I mean, we started with a punch list that was a page, 2 pages long and got down to a handful of items.
the irrigation as built. I've heard commentary from residents, not related to CDD, but it makes me wonder for our infrastructure, that irrigation lines were that far below the surface. Do we have some sort of, is it in the as-built that they must be buried X number of inches? Did we check any of that?
All of our stuff seems to be good.
How do we know that?
Actually was probably in 14 valve boxes today.
Okay.
That's, to Russ's point, there's 2 operating entities out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
The builders are the ones that are probably doing it.
Well, the
wrong.
houses, yeah.
The land development team is doing it right.
Okay, as long as we know that our stuff, we have high confidence that it's
You're,
good.
Greg, you're probably referring to
To the drip
the drip irrigation, which is that.
goes on top of
Less
the
than
ground.
tubing that kind of runs in the mulch. And
On
that,
top of the ground.
What I had heard was
I haven't
actual
seen pipe
PVC
too.
pipe,
Yeah,
PVC pipe,
yeah. And the homes, yeah.
or purple, I guess.
yeah. So, and I realize, again, those aren't our issue, but it just, if one's shallow, it makes me wonder for others shallow, so. Okay,
All right, I move to approve resolution 2023-17.
got the second,
Second.
any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain, honestly, because I didn't get a chance to read this today, so.
You
Okay.
can't abstain.
Yeah.
You have to
I'm gonna
vote.
have to vote no, I didn't have a
Okay.
chance to read this today.
3-1. Jack, did that ding mean it's time to vote?
Yeah, it's probably meant the garage doors open.
It goes ding and he goes, I'll make a motion.
It does it all the time.
Well, and Jan, I'll say it again, because I know we said it after our last thing from Matt. They need to stop sending stuff over the day of our meeting.
Yeah, we were negotiating this till the last minute on the plans.
I mean,
So
I,
that
I,
was-
and we said this last time, we just need to start pulling stuff off the agenda.
Okay,
This is
I will.
ridiculous. All right, 2023-18 conveying real property and improvements by lift station.
This is an easy one. On the last page of this item, there's a picture with a little circle around it. There's a lift station parcel. And Mattamy and the plat has the little parcel in front of it going to the CBD. Because Mattamy needs to build some additional improvements that doesn't fit in the lift station parcel. They had asked if they could build it on our parcel. And we realized since this is really an ECDD issue, that ECDD should really take title to it. So ECDD agreed to take title to the parcel, so we're quit claiming any interest we may have by the deed to ECD to take over this parcel on the improvements that Mattamy's building regarding the lift station.
Is it a part that we already have?
We have via the plat, we haven't
95.
accepted it.
Yeah, and ECDD already maintains or will
The lift
maintain
station.
the lift station, so it just makes sense for that little parcel.
Takes the CDD out of
Yeah.
the lift station. parcel
So-
completely.
And I saw it on the map. Can somebody tell me exactly where this is at? I'm trying to visualize it.
Looks like it's behind the school.
Yeah, it's
isn't
kind of by the school where that road makes the turn turns.
Okay.
That's helping with behind all that landscaping. Yeah. ECDD, I think, owned the track that includes driveway. But
And then
there
you got a
was-
little bit to the right.
there was a
Right.
driveway space track next to it.
It's just a little tiny open space track next to the,
It's not very big.
Planted.
I move to approve resolutions 2023-18.
Second,
Second.
any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, 7D. Event use application from Lexington for Holiday Village.
I don't know if you read the email with the use agreement. There were some things that they wanted, Mike Lexon. So they changed it. It's for their holiday, the holiday, village setup down there. They're changing locations, I believe. Greg had more of a conversation than I did with Mike. I did follow up with Mike to kind of see where his head was at about this. So essentially, they set it up under that one area, like a pergola type pavilion thing, but now I think they're moving it a little bit over.
So initially, they were looking at right at the entrance to the lake.
Right.
In the middle, but then they're moving it over to the right over by where the Santa House has been, over towards Starbucks.
So that drawing in here is correct, right? In the
Yes.
agenda, okay.
This is all, yes, that is where it's going. So that was the only change to what you've previously have seen every year. Other than that, everything else remains the same to my knowledge.
Well,
What, no?
what we've approved every year does not have the language that they're asking for a 10-year agreement. We've always approved these on a year-to-year before. So.
Yes,
let
and I
me-
think
yeah,
that was an agreement we were talking
let-
about
let me-
separately though,
Yeah, let me fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
So,
to do an agreement separately.
yeah, so what Mike had asked, and me and Susan Bone were there as well, so if you guys have comments, certainly one up.
I'm by the way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what Mike had asked for was, for a 10-year agreement. Because of the investment for them to be able to stand up some of these, food stands and everything else that they're gonna have an upfront capital cost on there. That they were asking for a 10-year agreement so that they don't have to come back year after year, that they know they're gonna have access to this. My comment to Mike was, I'm fine doing it. However, if I were going to say yes, I would want to know that we also have a 10-year agreement on everything that we do with decorations that come up every year, as far as the cost of those and who's gonna do what and all that. And then I would like to have those wrapped in, that Lexington would simply provide those decorations at no cost to the district in return for a 10-year agreement for access to the space. So that was my comments, and that's certainly up to the discretion of the board.
missed the whole 10 year. Where's the 10 year?
It's in here
Page
somewhere.
90.
It's-
Page 97, the.
It's
nature
right
of the event
here.
Program.
Oh, yeah.
Like right in the body of the event application.
Where it says nature of event
And-
program.
Yeah.
And I
sorry,
missed that
nature of
too.
event. Yeah.
Because I thought Jan and I had
There it is,
talked about
very-
doing a
very
separate
end.
agreement for that. That's where I missed it. I didn't
even
realize it was gonna be in here.
So-
I know Greg talked about.
Yeah, so the comment from Mike
Yeah.
was, and again, Mike, certainly be open for comment here, if you'd like to jump in, that Mike would like to keep them separated agreements. I would like to keep them in the same agreement, just, my thought is if we have them separated 3 or 5 years from now, if one of the agreements gets contested or somebody doesn't want it now, all of a sudden the other party's stuck with the other agreement. The whole idea in my mind is that these are intertwined. If we're gonna do one or another. Yeah, correct. So, Mike, since you're here, did you want to speak to it? Can you hear us on the line?
Brenda's mic on. Can you unmute him?
Yes, sorry about that. Thanks, Mike.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, now I just lost my screen though. I wanted the agreements to be separate because if we lump them all in where we're giving the district, we're doing all their decorating at no cost, you're essentially asking us to pay $8,500 a year for the right to have these vendors set up the holiday village. Not to mention the fact that we do the patriotic decor and everything else. We had originally agreed to a flat fee of $5,000 that we charge the district for the decorating of the holiday decorations, even though it costs us substantially more than that. I don't think we're going to use $8,300 worth of electricity over by the Shade Pavilion. So I don't think that was a fair exchange.
Okay, thanks. So I think that's the application before us, so. Make a motion on it unless someone got questions.
We can't just do a 10-year based on this application. We're gonna have to do some sort of written agreement.
That would say that the
That-
application is approved for 10 years.
Right. We would need to have some sort of legal document that goes with this, outlining the
If we approve
agreement.
this in concept tonight with whatever the board decides here, we could
Yes.
follow up with the
With an
agreement.
agreement.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, okay, so none of this includes the Christmas tree being at this location, is that correct? Mike, or
Mike, you want to speak to that?
holiday tree?
Takes
we
a
go.
second before it unmutes me. No, the Christmas tree is is going to be on Market Street. As my meeting when I had with Greg, there was a variety of reasons why we had to change that. Everything from safety because it required a stage to be built out over uneven steps, to trees growing up blocking the view of the tree, to the 220 power that we needed to install on Market Street in order to be able to power the tree properly. There's a variety of reasons why we moved the tree originally from the lake to Market Street, and that's where it's going to be moving forward.
Yeah, I didn't know if anyone on our end was preventing that. That was the intent was that you wanted to go back to it for whatever reason. But if that's where you want it, that's fine, and it's not part of this. I just didn't know the backstory.
Okay.
But what he is asking for, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, what you are requesting is that when you set up these booths, that they would be there through the entirety of the event for a month, that obviously you're not taking them down or moving them every night, that you would take them up and set them up and cover them or something like that out there?
Yes, and they would remain through the holiday season.
25th through the 31st.
Yeah.
25th is when the event starts, so a few days before that they would go up.
And that was,
17.
Yeah.
and that was part of my consideration again for the ask and still my opinion that we do it in exchange for them decorating the utilities is, not only that there is electricity and all, but there's use of our sidewalks, which now the public can't use, or has to navigate around and all that. I still think it's
Well, we've always had them use that facility as it is. I mean, last 25 years, it's been used for that purpose.
well, my
I don't-
understanding though is
I
up until 5 years ago, we weren't being charged for any of the decorations.
I don't know that.
Well, but I'm gonna go there because I think that's, in my mind, is relevant. So.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask for some history. Lee, did you guys have to pay for the decoration 5 years ago?
No, no, this is the 25th anniversary coming up, by the way, that's what they're using the now snowing. Disney started this 25 years ago.
Can you go up to the mic so we can actually look at it?
I have a couple too, so if I sum up. Disney started this 25 years ago. Started with the Santa house on the property. It went on for however long until the house itself fell apart. So the house needs to be redone completely, which is that's part of this. Is I think one of the reasons why Mike is asking for a longer agreement is because it's going to be about $25,000 to put a new Santa house, which won't be in the same spot, but will be right there, and then some other stuff. I'm sorry, did you ask a specific question that I didn't answer?
No. It's just 5 years ago is when the CDD had a problem with decorating stuff like that, right?
Approximately 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Prior to those 5 years was
No, there was no charge. I think it's because the event. Remember, I mean, I don't want to speak for Lexington, but the businesses down there obviously are CDD payers. Lexington is one of the biggest. It's a big event that brings people down to celebration. It's an important event that started way before any of us. So when we all kind of mucked it up in some ways, Chrome was part of it, CDD was part of it, Disney was part of it as Disney at one, and now a little different. So I think it's harder to put together, because now you have to ask for each entity to do. But certainly there wasn't any charge. I think in my recommendation, because I certainly hear what you're saying for sure, is I think that maybe something that you could discuss offline about trying to figure out, working with Mike and Janice to try to figure out, an equitable solution or something like that. Because I understand what Mike's saying is, pay for electric would only be X, and I think Mike, you're saying that the decorations cost you about like $8,500 a year. Is that what it is? And you only charge CDD like 5,000 or something? Yeah.
And that's not just Christmas decorations. We get the 4th of July decorations too.
The number that he's using is just the Christmas decoration, and he doesn't include the 4th of July and some other stuff. So yeah.
I think it's
Memorial Day,
Yeah.
4th of July.
So refresh my memory, whoever the Memorial Day and 4th of July stuff is on top of the 5,000 a year that we're paying. That's a separate line item.
He's not charging for that at all. Right.
Yeah, we get charged a flat $5,000 for all the decorations and
All year long.
and yes, but we have to take them. We take them down, right?
No,
We don't anymore.
And they store it.
Yeah,
And they store it.
and they do, yeah, they
They
store it.
store it. And what Mike said, and I don't want to speak for him, but only because he's on Zoom, it's probably harder for him to speak. He said in the letter, I think it's $8,500 for the Christmas. And I don't know what it would be more if he, in his head, he added it up for the other stuff in the storage. So anyway, okay.
I think it's really a benefit to us. We approved it at 5,000 previous couple of years. I mean, we don't have to store it. We don't have to buy the stuff, and he replaces it and it all matches the same stuff. So
No, and I appreciate all that. I'm just, and listen, I love the thinking of a 10-year agreement because I would love to never have to talk about this for another 10 years like we do every year. So Mike, I applaud the idea and I fully support the idea of a long-term agreement. I think doing that with a fair trade and for me, the trade and the decorations is fair.
well, we're still making out $3,500 a year anyway.
If I can also say another reason why is because the costs have gone up significantly, not only for the labor and the storage, but also, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we have to change the flags down there just about yearly because of people stepping on them, kids cutting them, throwing them in the lake. We literally have to, I just ordered 36 flags. It should be in this week because of all the ones that got damaged. We replace the Christmas decorations now at least every 3 years, completely new decorations every 3 years. So we took a lot of steps to make sure that things constantly looked new. And to be honest with you, the CDD side has about 75% of the decorations because the number of power poles that surround the lake. So our costs kept going up and up and up and up, but we maintained the $5,000 that we agreed to, and we have no intent of raising it, even though our costs continue to go up annually. So that's why we felt like we were giving a fair exchange.
But I would say I'd support it if part of the motion included that it would be, that the two agreements would be bound together and that we were capped at $5,000 a year for any decoration, so that we know the cost for the 10 years. I would support that if somebody wants to make that, or I can make that motion. I'll make that motion.
All right,
Yeah, what are you saying?
That we, number one, we approve it as a 10-year agreement. Number two, that we do, Jan and I can get offline after this and intertwine the two of them into an agreement, that it would include the decorations as well. And three, that we would propose it as a $5,000 a year cap for the term of the agreement for the decorations.
All right, I'll second that.
I'm just thinking, what is the risk with 10-year? I always agree that I don't want to be handcuffed for any longer than necessary. I don't want to look at this every year.
And I think, I mean, we can certainly have it if we want to put an out clause.
Yeah, we'll have to build them out if there's an emergency or, you know, there's some reason why we can't do it. We'll come up with something.
But I think to Mike's point, and I understand where he's coming from, is he needs to know that
He's
come
invested
on year
in it.
two, we're not
Yeah.
just gonna say, we don't want to do it anymore, because he's gonna invest a lot of money. It has to be in reasonable language that there's an emergency or something else that's prohibitive, kind of out of our control.
Mhm.
Mike, would you, while we've got a motion in a second, just would you notionally be okay with those terms?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I got a motion in a second. We have a discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right. Good. Mike, we'll see you in 10 years and one day.
All right.
Hope I'm around for that.
All right. 70 radar traffic devices. Mike, seriously though, thank you for what you and all your team do, and Susan and Lee do as well. I mean, I know that's a lot of work that goes into that. I really do appreciate what everybody does for your help.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay dry.
Yeah, right.
The request for the radar sign, as you heard, there was a lady at the last meeting. I know Jack has been contacted about the speed and all of that entering Artisan Park. So that's where this request. And I don't know if this is a request for us to buy another radar sign like the ones we have.
Yes, it's
Okay.
to buy.
Okay.
Because I think you mentioned the county has us down number 72 on the list to get their radar
Yeah.
device.
Well, that wasn't for radar devices. That was for some of the crosswalk flashy yellow things.
Yeah.
I don't even know where they're
How
at.
much are they? Like 30,
3,500.
and then the maintenance of them is when we send one off.
But we should have some money in the budget from the slump in with the sheriff.
That's
think it
for
is.
cameras.
Yeah, it's for
Oh,
cameras.
we do.
I
No,
think
we do.
it's all.
For the
kind of-
maintenance of
Oh, for the
the
maintenance,
ones
yeah.
we have, if we have to send them off.
We've had all of
them
us last
done.
year refurbished, so we should be good for a couple of years. on the
Correct.
ones that we have out
Yeah, I
right
forgot
now.
about that.
So Jack, you want a motion?
Do
for
we
not-
really, I have a
Sorry,
question,
go
like, do
Yeah.
we have a study, or do we know that they really help? Cause
Let me-
I don't see it helping in North Village.
It doesn't help, but it's gonna be something that we need to read the data more. I asked for the data 2 months ago, and I just want to summarize some things of the 3 signs we have. I lumped it together. It's about 10 weeks worth of data total. Had 138 violations that were 16 to 25 miles an hour over the speed limit. And that's for all 3 things. I had 27 that were 26 miles over the speed limit. Okay, and think about this, it's only 50-mile-an-hour speed limit, at 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. And if the sheriff was to give tickets, and he said 11 miles an hour over the speed limit, he would have given out 1,130 tickets. Okay, by the 851 building, the high speed was 56 miles an hour.
I don't even know how you can get up that high right there.
Well, that's nothing. Okay, and I will say at the Celebration Boulevard by the golf course, that's 56.
Mhm.
The winner though was Golf Park, 75 miles per hour.
So they don't help.
Well,
Or
the
just-
issue is we need to focus on this and get the sheriff doing some more work out there. I mean, we obviously have a problem with speeding and stop
Yeah,
sign.
that's true. I agree with that. I was just wondering if another one of those traffic devices even helps, and just use that.
All it
money
does
for
is gonna
the
say,
sheriff.
the
You know?
car behind you is looking at you saying you're going really fast. That's all.
That's it.
I know, but sooner or later, we've got to get a handle on this.
Russ, these were, some of them we had were relocatable at one point, because we had one back in Artisan about 2 years ago in Stickley, and then you guys moved it again. I mean, and I know that what's
Can move it
inspiring this is,
around.
well, yeah, I mean, if
We could relocate any of ours.
Yeah,
okay, I thought somebody
of
said-
ours.
You need to go to
That the
a
Yeah, I know,
street light pole.
I think there's
Yeah.
two that the county owns.
And I got to ask
We
you,
got
Russ,
some that are, solar, so we put them anywhere.
Russ, the one on Celebration Boulevard or at Boulevard by the golf course, that needs to be re-aimed, because if you're in the left lane, it doesn't pick it
Over by the golf.
on 12th hole. There's one on the 12th hole across for KinderCare.
You know where the 12.
Oh, Lord Village.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all, I was thinking this Celebration Boulevard.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, what?
No, we have our own Celebration Boulevard. North.
Oh, okay.
It needs to
The
be
wrong set of
re-aimed,
tracks.
because if you're the left lane, you can speed 50 miles an hour, and it doesn't pick you up.
Would your $3,500 rough number include whatever's needed to make it a relocatable one with a solar panel, or does that cost more for that?
I'll check, but I want to say we'll cover it.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But you're saying that we have ours that we can relocate.
Yeah.
Why don't we just start rotating them around?
That's what I was thinking.
Instead of
That's
spending
up,
money?
Right.
it's up to you all.
I think you spend as much money moving the stuff around as just putting one permanently.
$3,500.
What do we know? We just
We
loaded
can
up,
have it
right?
moved in an hour,
All right,
Yeah.
well, I just think we need,
whatever the board
I
wants.
think we need more of them.
How
It's
many-
up to you all.
How many-
We have speedy.
We
I
own
think
three.
four,
Oh, is
three or four,
Thought it was
one,
three.
two, three, I want to say four.
Well, hey, let's keep everybody honest, start moving those around.
Yeah.
And I don't think,
Can we try that first, just to see what data
Yeah.
comes up, and if we come back in a month and then we need another one?
And is the board okay with me when we pull this data to send it to the sheriff's department and say, look, here's where the problem areas are? Can we start?
You know,
100%.
not, yes, not the problem areas, the problem times, because there's a timestamp on that too, right?
Well, I looked
Yes.
at all the times, and
Yeah, they
some
are.
do it by 15 minutes increments, some do it by 30 minutes. And I'm not really sure how valuable the data is, because are we getting a violation if you go exactly 26 miles an hour of this, 1 mile an hour of the speed limit? It doesn't really give you any information on how the data is collected.
Right, but if I gave it to them and at least they can see, holy moly,
Yeah,
these speed limits are happening here and they can kind of focus and maybe we get them to start writing tickets in those areas and just kind of, focus. I don't know. Either, I mean, it may help, it may not, it can't hurt.
I mean, getting them moving more, when we put them on, when you guys put them on Stickley, I mean, the 3 cars that I know it was intended for slowed down.
They did?
Yeah, they did, I
Okay.
saw them driving by there, we removed it, and they're doing 45 again, so.
So would you like us to move around monthly, every quarter? Like,
I'd say whatever's reasonable.
I'd say monthly, and I'd like to see the sheriff
Monthly?
notify where they're located, have them see underneath the sign.
All monthly?
Yeah, is it monthly enough to get data?
Well,
I don't think
Sure.
so.
Order.
We need a little more time, don't you?
Yeah, I think quarterly.
Yeah.
is
Is
fine.
quarterly good?
I would suggest go to the sheriff's department and ask them where they've seen their speeding issues and get some input from them as to where they think we need to put. I mean, we think we know the spots and we see them a lot, but they're the ones out there writing tickets. Let's ask them what their thoughts are.
Yeah, so broader picture also is that we've got our details that we're paying for. Now, of course, in a perfect world, we just give it to them and they would do this on their usual enforcement.
Right.
But since that's not how it works around here, in that case, more of a global discussion with the details would be, all right, here's the data on speeding. Here's the data on all the other crimes that I hear about happening,
So
with breaking and
That was
entering. And
part of the conversation we had last Thursday, wasn't particularly around traffic, but around the crime piece. I said, guys, I need to start seeing, our board needs to start seeing some sort of crime statistics. If there are, we just heard in the past 2 weeks, there was a rash of car burglaries and break-ins going on in Georgetown. I expect the sheriff's department to come to us and say, hey, guys, we're having a rash of these, we're getting a lot of reports. We would like to take some details and assign them out here, have them going undercover, whatever. That's up to them to figure it out, but I need them to come to us proactively with ideas, not just guys driving around just because we're saying write tickets, that they're all writing tickets. I would like them to start being a little bit more forthcoming and thinking without.
that's strategic.
Correct.
Whatever became of a request for the blotter.
That was part of the request I put to them was, I need you to take the blotter, and not just that we have it, but I need you guys to do some analysis on that and say, oh, wow, we got a problem over here. Let me start focusing some details, so.
Yeah, so as a paying customer, we'd like to see a little bit of thought go into where our money's going.
Well, and in fairness, I mean, part of the comment back from him was, we're the exception of how we use details like this, right? I mean, most people that use details, it's like the church, okay, stand out here, direct traffic for 3 hours, then go home. It's, a birthday party, hey, I want you to block off the street, then go home. We're to your point, we are augmenting what should be the regular patrol force. Well, if I'm gonna do that, I also want the thought that comes with that, not just guys driving around indiscriminately writing tickets.
So that's what's happening right now, essentially, is what they're coming back with?
Well,
Like, yeah, we just showed
and in
them-
fairness to them, we haven't given them guidance otherwise, but I've really drilled it home with them. I need these details to be more than just traffic guys.
Question is, where is the detail reports in the agenda?
They did not come in there. We have them. I can send them out to the board, but they should be in here. Again, it's
Probably not
public.
in this month, usually.
No,
No, they're not in this
And
month,
then there's I talked to Mike.
but usually they are, yes.
I talked to Mike and he said, we got some kids downtown, or after they get off of school at 3:30, they're wreaking havoc. And I think we need to get the details over there on Fridays and Saturdays.
Well, we've got them Friday and Saturday night.
Well,
Yeah, well, Saturday after school.
I'm talking about 3:30.
Yeah.
3:30 in the afternoon on Fridays.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we can reapportion the times as best we can. At the end of the day, guys, I go back to part. This is the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department needs to be telling us, hey, here's where they need to be doing some of this analysis of what they're hearing. And on the flip side, people need to be calling. And I will say this out loud. How many times I go on social media and see people, oh, well, looks like there's a car burglary. Let me take a picture about it and post it on Facebook. Guys, call 911.
Right.
That's what it's there for. I don't want us to get wrapped into the death spiral of us trying to be the sheriff's department. We're here to enable the resource. Hey, we're giving you money for details. I need some feedback from them as to how they think we should use it. So, and the captain was receptive to that. So I don't want to make it sound like it was a lost cause, but it was not a conversation that they'd had before. Traditionally, we just told them, hey, drive around and write a bunch of tickets.
Jim, this would be something that could go in the Friday Flash or the Monday Morning Matters, that we need to get it out to the residents. They see something, they need to call. They
See something, say something.
Yeah.
It's very important.
Facebook is not saying something.
Mhm.
So back to the beginning of this conversation.
Yeah.
So
Radar sign.
We're gonna move
have
them
to
Are we
vote on
moving
that
one sign?
quarterly.
quarterly.
We'll move them around
Are we
quarterly.
moving one sign to, going into Artisan Park?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which one do we want to?
Not
Leave
the
it
North
at
Village sign.
Discretion.
yeah.
We've
whatever
got
y'all-
one at the
Get with Jack
851
afterwards,
building,
because he's
we've
gonna
got
fit.
one on
Not
Golf
North
Park, and we got one on the commercial boulevard.
Whichever one you feel is appropriate.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get into.
Obviously with 55 or 75 miles an hour at the 851 building, I would
No,
probably
that's-
not move
that's-
that one.
Yeah.
Golf Park.
Oh, golf park, I
Yeah,
would keep
because
that
that's
one.
cool as well.
I would take the 851 buildings one, because I mean, you got a flashing yellow light there that's supposed to tell you to go 20 miles an hour for the school. But it's got enough stop signs in between there to slow
Yeah.
people down.
Yeah.
Plus it's kind of a little curve there, so.
Not that it really stops anybody, because
Slow down.
Nothing stopping.
To go fast enough, maybe the wind from the car.
So do we want to, before we get to like the brick pavers in Artisan Park, or?
Wherever you wanna.
What's
We
the-
know where the residence was at. I'd say if she called,
I would say
drop it across the street from her residence by that point.
now before Artisan Park. I mean, that's where they're speeding. They got a whole big stretch. It's
Right before the entrance.
By Memorial
Yeah,
Park.
all right, so we're
Okay.
gonna,
Memorial.
All right.
all right, so do
Got
I-
it.
are we, Jack, are you withdrawing? Nobody made a motion on this?
No,
No, we don't need a motion.
All right, so we're gonna table this one. Okay.
Okay.
Very well. Damaged sidewalk, 7F. Sorry.
Already
trying
talked
do
to
something.
that.
We talked about that already.
we talked about that one.
All right,
Great dinner, sorry. guys.
Too late. We're 15 minutes over.
all right, never mind. We slow back down again. 7G, news article, motion.
Wait, did we do the sidewalks?
We
7?
already
Yeah.
did
Okay, 7G.
the article.
Yeah. And this was, sorry, who wrote this one? Was this Tom?
Jack.
Jack.
Oh,
Very good.
I like it.
Very good, Jack. All right, Jack, motion on it. I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Go in a second.
second.
Any questions? All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I love the fact you put the pictures in there, Jack. Everybody likes pictures.
Pictures are good.
All right. 7H, discussion of management RFQ. Jan, you wanna?
Yeah, we were tasked along with Dave Hume to put together a sort of preliminary request for qualifications and to lay out the possibility of seeing what firms are out there that would be possible, have the capacity to take over a celebration management. And so this is what we came up with as a preliminary RFQ that would for RFP. I think there's typo we didn't catch.
Yeah.
RFP instead of RFQ.
Some
this
of
is
my
really-
edits did make it in this version.
Yeah, I think you got the wrong, they got the wrong version. But yeah, we would make it an RFQ, but this is really to be able to meet with a company or two, and there really are very few out there. Dave gave me some names. I talked to the ones I have. There's very few who have the capacity to handle this size CDD with the maintenance requirements that this CDD has, but this would be a preliminary request for their qualifications, and if the board wanted to meet with the companies before doing an actual RFP with all the specifics. And so this was tasked to be in here for the board to discuss whether they want to go forward with this.
Dave, I know you had kind of nudged this one a couple meetings ago. Do you want to talk a little about?
Yeah, the intent here is to go out to the market and see what's there, just that we have information. This might not be anything actionable once we go out and see what the landscape is like, but at the very least, I think it's up to us as to represent our constituents, just to make sure that we know what options are available and to pursue those and see where the cards lie.
I'm not behind this. Having witnessed the recent change of management with PROA, I don't see a problem right now with Infomark. If we had an Infomark problem, we would go into them and say, this is what you need to fix. We haven't done that. I'm not ready to go through this exercise.
Well, this was also a calendar exercise, because if you're gonna do it, this would be the time to do it in order to line it up with contractual dates.
The contract expires February 24th.
Yeah.
It's January, February 24th. So we're about 16 months out.
So, yeah, I'm not in favor of kicking the can. It's either we're interested in making sure, just like with any of our other vendors, if there's somebody that not there, we evaluate them. Number one, I agree with that. We should continue to do it. But we also have to realize that there was a groundswell of public concern on the other association that eventually resulted in an RF, and that it culminated in a change of management company, but it doesn't necessarily mean that would happen for this organization, because it's completely two separate things. And secondly, it is really I see it as a role as supervisors to make sure that we are scrutinizing all of our vendors. And we do that to our landscapers and others that we use, and haven't really gone through a formal process.
Well, we do that with the evaluation we did. We've looked at management. I just don't see this as something I want to broach at this time. If we had problems with management, then yes. There was problems with the PROA management team at that time. I mean, it was really going downhill. So they had to do something.
I'll call it a best management practice. You don't look for somebody when things go bad. You just make sure that you're proactive in how you do that. So I don't think it's advisable just to wait until the house is burning down to then look into getting insurance, for example.
I mean, I'll say I agree with both of you. Part of my
politician.
Yeah, well, there you go. Part of my perspective is just, from my day job of doing government contracts and being on the other end, and it's federal contracting, so it's a different world, but there's a reality. I could be doing the best job in the world. Guess what? Every 5 years, I have to reprove myself to the customer, and the customer has to go out and do that, even if he says you're the best thing I've ever had. Every 5 years, there has to be not just an RFQ, and it's a full blown RFP. Jack, I agree with you. I don't think there are, and I want to make sure everybody hears that, particularly staff. I do not think there are any significant systemic problems. I mean, I put all my comments publicly that I put out to staff and, you know, my opinion is they're working on them and there's still improvement to be done. There's always improvement to be done.
Every day.
You know, for sure. I also feel that, you know, on the flip side, I think to Dave's point, I mean, you know, right now this is about a $1.2 million a year contract that we're paying for. You know, my support of this is to the extent that all we're saying is this is an RFQ. We are not going out for proposals. This is simply a, hey, everybody, send us what you got. And honestly, the results may come back. And I think, you know, my discussions with Jan on this between the last meeting we had about 2 months ago and this are, Jan's opinion is there really aren't that many other companies, possibly any other, that can come in and do what Infomark does. You know, with between the land side we have of this and the size of operation we are. I think what we're probably going to find back from this is, regardless of how good of a job Infomark's doing, there's just nobody else that can step into this. I mean, Jan, am I generally on track there?
I think that's correct, and even the ones, you know, there were really only 2 that responded favorably. I had, you know, one that didn't even call back that said,
right,
we get with our maintenance staff.
Right.
There's probably only one other one, and even then, I don't think the number of employees.
Yeah.
You know, it would be hard to find someone that could handle this number of employees and this much.
Well, and Angel, to your point, of course, anybody that's asked if they're smart, they're going to say we can do anything. I get that, but that's where I'm also relying on Jan is, you know, Jan's going to be a sanity check in this process to say, hey, wait a minute, I know this company, they can't do, you know, and that's going to weigh heavily, in my opinion, if we go forward with this process, is Jan's experience in the marketplace and what we hear. So I'm supportive of it moving forward, just for an RFQ, just to simply say what I said 2 months ago, just to do a sanity check that when we do come in, and it may well end up, guys, that we're a year from now getting back into a renegotiation directly with Infomark as we did 3 years ago. I just would like to have the backup going into it so that I can, to Dave's point, look the community in the eye and say, hey, we did some homework. We're not just stumbling into this because we like Infomark. So
yeah, I think it's a harmless first step is what I'm saying. The difficult or any sort of discussions could be after we get with the RFQ, just to get more familiarized with some of the other vendors that are available, if any. And that even that, we would like to be able to be able to look someone in the eye in the community and say, listen, we management is one of our biggest cost line items, and yes, we've done our homework. We know who's out there, and we got the best. And this is why.
All right. So we've got the item in here. Do we have a motion on the floor?
I move to move forward.
I'll make a second. Any other comments or questions?
No, I just think we don't need to spend the money doing it or the time. If our attorney already knows what's out there and says there really isn't anybody else who can do all of this, you know, and handle the number of employees we have. So that's my comment. I'm ready to vote.
Okay. Any other comments? All's in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Okay.
2-2, it's
Motion fails.
fails. Okay. All right, regular reports, district manager.
So I only have one big item. And this is kind of a little bit premature, but not really. It has nothing to do with Celebrations contract. It's not any addition to your contract. It's not any additional money, but we did hire a gentleman by the name of Kerry Satterwhite. I don't know if any of you recognize that name. He was the director of facilities for Reedy Creek. He's been over there for 4 years. He has a very good name in the industry. He's been the director of facilities for probably the last 30 years. At Reedy Creek individually, he provided municipal services to the Walt Disney World, 5 divisions of the facilities department, facilities management, fleet maintenance, parking operations, construction management, and all of their horticultural operations. He does start with us on October 16th. He is going to be the director of field operations, which kind of takes the Brett overall position. We do have another added layer there. His name is Leo. I don't know how many of you met him. I know Greg has met him. He's another added layer. but we are very excited that he's joining us. He's great at what he does. You're shaking your head. You must know him.
I don't, but it
Okay.
sounds impressive.
He is very impressive, comes with a lot of knowledge background, going to be able to help. Russ and I talked. He's actually the only one in our company right now, field side, that knows we've added that additional person. We are excited with the horticultural, especially because we don't have anyone on staff. Brett was the guy, the horticulture guy. And he went on to back to the landscape side. So we're excited. He starts the 16th. All of you, he will be based out of Celebration. And he will be a huge added support to Russ and the field team in general, and just operational, project management, all of those things.
So both Gary and Leo are local.
Carrie is local. He lives here.
You'll be working out of the office here?
Yes,
Okay.
Carrie will be located here in this office right next to Russ,
Okay.
Russ's office. Leo will be here 3 to 4 times a week, which again is just an added layer. It doesn't affect your contract. We're not adding in additional stuff, but obviously it helps with those added layers that we've added.
How
So
do you see just the division of, I mean, I think I got a good picture of what
Mhm.
Russ is doing today and what Russ is gonna be doing tomorrow, but between Leo and Carrie, how do you see?
So Carrie is going to be the director of operations over our entire field staff. Everybody, all encompassing. Leo is an added layer as far as regional. We have a West region, kind of split the state. We
Okay.
have a Freddie and a Leo that kind of do that. Russ is separate. He does his thing here. He is solely focused on Celebration. So he'll report directly to Carrie. And Carrie will be able to be here as a support to Russ with all of those things. So Russ can kind of do what Russ does. The other thing that we're doing, Russ and I are hiring Russ's right-hand man that at whatever point will eventually replace Russ when Russ decides he wants to go home and drink beer the rest of the day. Which
Say it ain't
we-
so, Russ.
Next 6 months straight.
Take a motion for no.
Yeah, it could be 20 years from now, whatever it is, but Russ has a lot of historical knowledge here and knows where everything is. And he needs to be not in the field so much as he is. We all know he loves to do that. He loves to be in the field and do what he does, but we've got to get him more pulled out of the field. So we are looking, we have a couple of applicants that are very qualified as Russ, and they will be basically glued to Russ's hip for ever. And, you know, alleviate some of the stuff Russ is out in the field doing so he can manage and do that kind of stuff a little bit more and direct and kind of give up his knowledge of what he knows about Celebration. And Russ isn't going anywhere, but, you know, we need somebody that he can release all this in his brain to. And that's kind of what we're doing is looking for that right person too. So we're adding to the staff to be able to do these things at that level. So
Sounds good.
I appreciate you doing that. I mean, I know, again, it's not a requirement, but.
No.
When we first started, because even before we renegotiated the new contract, you guys have brought in Brett at no cost. And it
Yeah.
was a great value add, and I
Mhm.
appreciate you guys doing this as well. I think that speaks well for.
and this was well in play before talks of an RFQ. So it has nothing to do with that. It was just it's going to be an asset to Infomark, but also to every district that we operate in, and especially Celebration, because he'll bring a lot to it. He already knows a lot of Celebration because he's been at Reedy Creek running that for the last five years or so. But everyone knows what's happening with Reedy Creek. So
Yep.
we've been talking to
Time to
him
go.
for months and months. And when it really started imploding, he decided it's time for me to go. But we talked to him probably when I talked to you, I don't know how many months ago that was about hiring him. And you were like, I don't know him. I have,
forgot the unit.
that was him.
That's right, okay.
So it's been months and months, but he wasn't ready to leave there yet. But now I think it's gotten to the point where he has really no option but to kind of.
Has he actually started already, or is he still? in
He's
process?
already passed all of his backgrounds, drug screens, everything. He wanted to give them at least 30 days.
Okay.
So therefore,
Just at a point where the board can,
Yeah.
one-on-one, we can.
he
sit
is
down.
going to start coming in though. visiting. He's attending our corporate meeting, October 2nd and 3rd down in Coral Springs. He's gonna come by. He's leaving the Dry Tortugas today. So he'll be in Celebration next week. He wants to come by, a couple of days, maybe have lunch, get to know Russ, sit down with the team. And if y'all are around, I would love to introduce you. So between now and the 16th, he'll kind of be in and out, kind of getting familiar with some stuff. So if anyone's around, I'll definitely reach out so you can meet him. He's a great person, has a lot of offer. I can send y'all his resume if you'd like as
Yeah,
well,
that'd be good.
just so you can see it.
Yeah. Just let me know who do I send my Friday picture of Blake Reinhardt to? That's all I'm.
That picture, who was I talking to? Who was in my office? Somebody was, Tom. And I said, oh my God, look at this picture. It's like, should be in a magazine. I don't even know how you took it, if it was just on your iPhone or
It's
what.
my phone, man. It's my phone.
It is an amazing picture of Blake Reinhardt. It really is.
Wind was blowing the right way.
It was gorgeous.
I knew something was up because there was other people there that got awful early time of day on Friday taking pictures.
Yeah, it was a really good picture that could probably be in a magazine somewhere, but yeah, it was a great picture. So that's all I had. I just wanted to let you know what we're doing internally. We're adding to staff. Again, doesn't affect your contract. It's just something we're added for added value. And we think will come in handy with Celebration.
Good, appreciate it.
Mhm.
Any questions for Angel? Field manager.
Well, we had a couple things to fix last week, the week before. We had a valve that went bad. Right before the 417, you'd think no big deal. It was 6 feet deep to the top of the pipe. Took 3 days to fix that thing with 3 people in the backhoe. We got into wires that were about 1.5 feet above the main line, which was supposed to be tucked under it on top of that.
Power
That's the
line?
worst ever, and I used to do irrigation a long time ago. Worst repair ever that we've done. We just saw Todd's finishing up an electrical repair in front of the rec center down there in Island Village right now. It was underneath the brick pavers, so we had to get a 20-foot line under that. Got all the conduit in there. So we're getting into some things. It's not an hour or 2 hours or something like that. We're still working on the lights on the bridge. We're gonna get a company in here to start cutting into the column, that's holding up the light, find out where the short's at.
What's your sense of the workmanship down there in Island Village?
I don't know if it's just a fluke. I know that the electric that Todd worked on today and yesterday, that was done from a directional drill. It was putting a cable in, so they got into our power. A lot of it's Crowas.
Is there faulty workmanship or is it bad design? Is it a warranty thing there that we're trying to pursue with Mattamy?
This, the lights on the bridge, they do show a junction box where the wires have been pulled into a junction box and then up to lights, and there's no junction box, which
How do you do that?
might have helped. I don't know.
So what, and again, I'm not trying to go to Mattamy's, you know what, but my concern with the bridge is if I'm finding this one thing, what else is?
I'm hoping it's a one-off. Me and Todd are crossing our fingers. It's just, we don't even know what happened. All we know is the wire will not move. I mean, we're only 10 foot now. We're at the top of the light pole and Todd's cut into the column going this way. Can't even budge the wire going up there.
I mean, Jan, if there are deviations from what was designed, do we still have a recourse with them now that we're saying, hey, we may not have checked it before, but we're realizing it now? Is there some recourse we can?
Yeah,
take
we
with
can
them?
try. I mean, yeah, I mean, it was hidden, it wasn't observed.
Okay, I mean, if it's a small
I mean,
fix and we really don't think there's a major systemic issue, then just fix it.
But
and
if
move
I
on.
didn't
If
make
it's
it
a big
according
problem,
to
then it's-
plans and we couldn't see it to inspect, we can certainly
Yeah.
go back.
Okay.
Other thing is I got a bench in there, the Debbie McDonald found
Yeah.
online. I like it. Right in the hallway.
Okay.
Did y'all see
That's
it?
the one in the hall, okay.
Yeah.
You need to go look at it because,
That cost
yeah.
$2,000 with no discounts or anything. Holtzcraft benches cost $2,676 delivered. If we go ahead and order the 28 benches, or I guess 27 now, those benches will go down to $1,470 a piece, which is almost half price of what Holtzcraft benches are.
It's in the budget. We need approval on it.
Well, no, but you need to look
Well,
at that
yeah,
because
well,
it's a different style. It's right in the hall, right outside here in that hallway. Because it is a different style than what's out currently in, it's still
Doesn't look too
teak.
much out.
No, it's just different slats.
Okay. A strange question slash request is that the benches all have a back or some of them have back.
We're talking all the back ones now.
The ones that have a back.
We've got different types. This is for all the backs.
All right, because
Here, all teak wood benches.
got it. I think back benches make sense when your back is like against the conservation area, there's nothing to look at. I just think we need to look when we're doing replacements, that there's some areas, like I'll say around the golf course or golf park, where people might want to be facing either at the street to look at the houses or at the golf course. And might not want back on that, because we want to be able to sit in the way.
It's kind of like Water Street, there's no backs on those.
And Water Street's another, yeah, so just the
Based on that,
So
consideration.
You're replacing light with light, is that what we're going to do?
Pretty
Okay,
similar.
Yeah, I mean, like backless with backless, okay, yeah.
we had put in a plug number, kind of as a little bit of a swag when we did the budget as far as how many we thought we could get. So that sounds like it's coming in significantly under.
Oh, it's coming
And it's
40% of the amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but part of the question was we'd split this over 2 years and said, hey, do we budgeted X number of dollars, knowing that there was still going to be a secondary cost. If we're going to get a discount of them down to that cheap, how much would it cost for us? How many more benches could we get? How close to the end could we get so that we're just not putting this off to year 2? I'm not trying to put you on the spot right now.
Well, no, you're not putting me on the spot. Today's argument, the benches that don't have a backs also have metal on, so they're not, it's just teak slats, but then you got metal stands and all that, so that's a whole different cost, like Ford and Chevy right now. I don't even know with this company, the new company,
Okay.
if they even make that type of bench.
Okay.
So these benches would cover all, I mean, are there more than the 28 benches like this one over here?
For the backs?
Yeah.
I don't believe so, no.
Well, are you saying, are there more through
I
town?
think the
Yeah.
rest of them,
I mean, how many benches do we have that have
oh, I don't know,
backs?
we got a bunch of them.
Angel, do you recall off the top of your head, what did we budget for?
100,000, I think.
Yeah.
I would, my point is, I would like to take the 100,000 as far as we can go, even if it means we can do more than Lake Reinhardt, which was kind of the swag we put. I would like to squeeze the $100,000 and get it done this year, as much as we can.
Now,
Will
my
they
only
look
thought
alike?
was, since this bench hasn't been put out, hasn't been installed, hasn't been used and abused a little bit, I like the looks of it myself. It seems very sturdy. Just hoping it'll last at least, if not longer than the other benches, but who knows?
And you're saying you can find backless that match these?
No,
don't know
You
that
don't
yet.
have-
I'm not saying that.
Oh, okay, so you don't.
That
know
might be just, we might have to go back to the, I'm trying to think of the name of the company that makes the backless benches, but. If we have to get them from there, then
100,000.
it is what it is.
Do y'all mind if they match or don't match?
They won't, the backless
won't
one,
go-
I
they
don't
won't
think
match
we're
it.
gonna find
Oh, okay,
a solid wood backless bench, I don't think,
oh.
but I could be wrong.
So we're not motioning on anything tonight, it's more, do we like this? Do we think
Yeah,
this
I'll
bench-
check it
Yeah.
out, see what you think.
Yeah.
You may go, oh, wait, no,
And
no, no,
they,
no.
they look very similar. It's just the slats are a little different. It still looks like teak wood and
Instead of the,
they're
where you
nice.
sit, the slats running long ways, they're running
Yeah.
Oh,
that
okay.
way. That's about the only thing you really look to notice.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, yeah, for next meeting, if you could figure out how far the 100,000 is gonna go for us, I'd be interested to know. With the rest beyond just like Reinhardt, how much more do we have to do? How close would that get us to done?
Okay.
All right. Anything else for us, Russ?
Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, I'll bring something up. I mean,
We need the ponding issues on the sidewalk, on address, the ponding issues that we keep getting complaints about.
the puddles on the sidewalk.
Mhm.
Um,
And we've explained that they're all over the place in Celebration. They're all over the place in every district, right? And there's really not anything we can do about those. I know that prior to, they were putting in lead walks
Yes.
to get rid of that ponding to help go. That doesn't help really either in some cases, but they're wanting us to go out and I don't know if they're wanting us to lift sidewalks, rearrange, I don't know, but they want us to solve this ponding problem because, and I get it, if it's creating a problem for them, if there's algae buildup or what have you, but
That it's gonna cause mold and be
Yeah,
slippery.
and it's
then they're gonna
slippery.
Get a crow violation letter for having a bad looking sidewalk.
but they're supposed to be cleaning the sidewalk in front of their home. So
But they're gonna have to clean it 3 times more than their neighbor.
that's right.
Russ,
That is correct.
Because of us.
Yeah, but I don't know how you fix that. I mean, there's just low spots all over Celebration. I don't know. I mean, unless you have a plan.
Pretty much.
Part of it too. is
It's
the sod,
everywhere.
it's the sod, the curb that has grown out.
Correct.
starts to block
And
the
it
water.
stops the
It's
water.
clean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stops it
Sod
from,
needs to be cut up and through the dirt. Sod put back.
in North Village, along Longview, right by Georgetown, by that little island that we have in North Village Street intersecting with Longview. Georgetown tends to overwater. They fill up the sidewalk, it overflows in the street.
Road's
and-
low,
The road is low, and what it's done is weaken the road
fault's
base,
coming up.
and we have a million potholes that have been repaired there. My only solution to this, besides making Georgetown watch their watering, is put a sewer in there or stormwater drain. I don't know how
There's
you
a
do
little
that.
tiny drain in there right now that goes to ABS, which has probably been full of dirt for 10 years. There's no sewer drain close by there.
That's the only solution unless we build it up and have a higher road.
That would be my guess, the easiest solution. We get the county in there and throw about 4 inches of asphalt right there. Curb might look a little bit funky, but oh well.
Well, I would get the county involved in this. It's their road. They need to build it up. Cause that's just a puddled area every day. I don't know if you drive that early in the morning to see it, but Georgetown just fills it up with water.
Other ponding question, is there any examples where it's the sidewalk sinking, not the turf growing? Or we would know.
I've never seen it.
Sidewalks, and the sidewalks sinking uniformly. Got a washout or irrigation. Okay, probably more so.
Mhm.
I can't imagine sidewalks.
Shit, I wish that was our problem,
Down
sinking
the edge.
sidewalks as
Yeah.
opposed
Just
to.
disconnect somewhere at the edge, see some sort of change or crack or. So,
Yeah, the other could be if you just have 2 tree roots lifting 2 sides, then you have a valley in the middle.
It makes it,
Mhm.
it gives the appearance of the sidewalk sinking.
Yeah, so in that occasion, I think then, yeah, we would be able to restore the sidewalk
Mhm.
where those roots are, but outside of that, yeah, it wouldn't be our responsibility.
I
My
mean-
suggestion, I mean, the guidance we've always given, I understand the homeowners is, hey, build a lead walk, but I think what I'm hearing is it's, hey, you may need to build a lead walk, or you may need to remove some of the dirt and sod. I think if we just advertise that to the homeowners, some of the homeowners probably just don't know. So can we, do we?
I'm just saying, I tried digging around my easement. And I'll tell you, the number of roots there, you can't lower that side. It's just.
Now, the good thing is, since we've increased the budget for sidewalks, we did a lot of sidewalk last year. I just marked up probably 50 panels today. We're gonna get them in here in a couple of days. It's gonna alleviate some of the areas. We're trying to do the worst ones first, the whole entire roadway.
I mean, it is causing a problem, as David said, it causes a problem for the homeowner because, you're having to clean your sidewalk 10 times more than what your neighbor is because it is a slip hazard and it's nasty and you're gonna get written up. But I just don't know what we can do to help alleviate that unless we went out and started digging up sod and taking away dirt and all of that, or if we put it back onto the
Well, and I
homeowner.
don't have an
That's
issue
private
telling the homeowners their
property, yeah.
maintenance as part of the easement requirement. I don't have a problem saying that, but I think we just need to say that to them. Hey,
Okay.
this may be a dirt too high issue, not just a build a leeway issue.
Okay.
And that'd be good with our augmented field operations, be able to say, look at the example and say, oh, that's just because you need to take out some of your sod.
Here,
That's
he's
the
got
whole
this.
order, put in the French drain. Might help.
I don't know if those are allowed.
They're allowed, yes.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are? Okay,
Got them in mind.
then,
You just get it.
I think if we want to, if you can take that guidance recommendation document and maybe get between Russ and Mark and just say, hey, what other ideas are there? And
okay, we can
some of the
do that.
homeowners I think are reasonable. They just
Don't know.
don't know.
Okay. I'm sorry, I wanted to bring up one more thing. We talked about this in storms. I've talked to ECD as well. Celebration themselves don't have any pumps, bypass pumps. If we ever have to pump anything down or anything, we would go out and rent them.
Are you talking there that we reach the
Mhm.
spillway or whatever?
Right, or if we want to, if we know a major, yeah,
Before, okay.
before a major storm or something, to dewater them, we have no pumps. So ECD does not have any pumps either. They rent theirs and they do that every year because of the lift stations and they just have them lined up, ready to go if they need them. So they were able to find them, fairly discounted 4-inch pumps. They found they have two that they can purchase. They're $34,000 each. And they did not know if Celebration wants to buy one and they will buy one. And then you have two on site essentially for either district to be able to use. It's not a decision you need to make today, just putting that out there. They're going to purchase one regardless. And I think every year they may purchase another one because they just, the last few storms, even the one that did not hit us here out there, whatever the name of that one was, but the two previous ones, none of the lift stations went down, but they have spent basically every storm. It's about $18,000 that they rent pumps to have them here just in case lift stations go down or anything like that, or they have to pump anything out. So they're going to start purchasing them, you know, one maybe every year. So they don't have to expend that money on renting them.
Personally, I like the idea. I mean, it's Jen and I were, or sorry, Angel and I were having a conversation as to whatever that Cat 5 hurricane that was coming straight for us and made a hard right turn about 3 weeks ago. And that was the conversation, was pumping down ponds. And since we don't have any of these, I personally, I like the idea that we can get some of these down, particularly in hurricane season.
These are 4-inch as well, which are fairly big. Again, doesn't pump extremely quickly, but at least you would have something. But again, not a decision you need to make tonight, but maybe something you think about, because it's definitely, it would come in handy. If we ever got into
Real world experience last fall with the only one that flooded was by the high school.
That would be the one to do.
Yeah, and that's the one we were talking about doing.
Well,
if this
it wasn't
storm
the one
came.
that flooded.
No,
Reinhardt tore up the back.
No, in East Village.
East Lawn.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, there were a couple of them.
Yeah, so there were a
If you
couple we could
progressively
have,
Get those down slowly ahead of time, a week or so ahead.
yeah.
East Village, we can cure, and I'll give you some numbers next board meeting. Get some more grates like we did over at West Park. We can cure that. Have pumps.
Yeah.
That'll eliminate that problem forever.
But I think having a pump that you have here as opposed to renting would be a good idea. I don't think we need to go crazy and go out and get 6 or something, but I think, you know,
I like the idea of one because I have a feeling that next time they're gonna use the high school again as a shelter.
that's right.
Yep.
So if
That
you
walk
have-
is within 8 feet of the building.
And I've talked to Enterprise as well. They're gonna invest in a pump. So essentially Celebration and Enterprise, whatever we needed to do, you would have the availability to use 2 pumps to be able to pump down or whatever. They would purchase one, you would purchase one, and then kind of go from there. It's,
Where would you pump the water to?
there's different, it's a whole thing.
See here.
Yeah, it's a whole thing you have to
We
go through and mark.
We're gonna put it on
We
your.
have to
your-
submit, they tell you where you can pump to. and-
Water permit.
Correct.
It's an emergency
There's an
authorization.
emergency use permit.
Storm's approaching. We actually filled one out the last time.
Yeah.
And submitted as the storm occurred. But yeah, we would provide the information, the map, turn it into the water management district.
And how
Yeah,
much,
that's issue with.
how much pipe do we need to have with that pump?
Discharge pipe?
Yeah.
We got the hose for discharge.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think what you got.
Got about 300 feet.
You got
or
300 on either side.
and these are mobile. So we'd be able to move them wherever we needed to move them.
Not wherever.
Well,
We could do the
they're,
pond out in the
yeah,
high
they're
school.
movable.
Just do the one at the high school, and there's plenty, and there's enough room for that around here. I'm assuming.
Oh,
Storage
yeah.
area.
So anyway, again, not something you need to decide on today, but
If you can bring a quote to the next meeting, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know why we need to wait on it for the decision. If
Mhm.
we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. If we're not, we're not.
that's fine.
So,
I can put it on the October agenda. We already have the quotes. I just didn't put them in here. Renee got them after the agenda went out, so I'll put it on the October agenda and you can make a decision at that point.
Two things I had, one of them. It kind of dovetails on the same conversation about the lead walks is with the recent resolution we did on the trees, there's still some confusion among the community as to who's got what where. I realize the resolution's there. I also realize nobody does all that stuff. Can we get a one-page trees and celebration for dummies put up on our webpage of exactly what the homeowner responsibility is and what our responsibility is and how this works?
So just a condensed of the resolution.
Just in layman's terms, so everybody can easily digest. If you want to put a few pictures in there, whatever else, so that we can tell people, hey, click on this and this is what you need to do. And this is what the district's doing. The other thing was, and there's two of these together. So I did get an email last Monday, I think it was, with the Gator ATV being used by Juniper. I think the Jan or Jay or Angel, somebody forwarded that to the rest of the board. So I did ask Jan, because this was now, I'm aware of the third time we've had a safety issue with Juniper. Last one was about 18 months ago. We had them in here because after their worker got hit pretty hard on the boulevard, and there was another instance before that, I think also on the boulevard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Same person.
Yeah, that's right. It was the same woman.
No, same woman.
So this is now the third time that I'm aware of, just since I've been on the board. If you watch that video for public's awareness, it was both a unsafe movement of an ATV, which was unlicensed, that shouldn't have been on the road to begin with, and separately had multiple workers standing on the edge of the roadway, blowing leaves, and there was no truck, as they said they were going to put in, and that was specifically you and me and Russ. I think Angel, you were in there as well, and we brought him in a while ago. They were going to do some MOT and blocking trucks and all that kind of stuff, and none of that was there. So I did ask Jan and her firm to send over a formal, what I call a cure notice of fix this and tell us what you're doing. Jan, do you want to?
Yeah, I spoke, well, we sent it to the regional person that you had
Yeah,
addressed. and
Derek
they- Yeah,
Mueller's no longer with them. So
yes, we sent it to the new person. He forwarded it to the district manager who called us today, and he said he had immediately called the people here on site to work with them. And so I'll follow up tomorrow with asking him to give us written advice on what they're going to do to cure it, as opposed to just talking to them. But I figured since we were gonna come today to see what else you all wanted, besides maybe summary of their plans.
I mean,
to cure this.
in my mind, not only are they safety issues, they're legal. I mean, you
Oh,
can't be standing,
you can't be
standing in the middle of
around.
the street, and you can't be driving unlicensed stuff. So this is pretty black and white.
Yeah. He seemed to get the idea that this was beyond
Yeah.
what is acceptable.
we're also gonna add Juniper. I know Tom's not here. We're gonna add Juniper to the October agenda. As you know, he's the maintenance liaison. We've been working with him through Russ and Juniper to get a bunch of different things done and accomplished, and it's been very slow going. So I was asked to put together a few different scenarios, get some different proposals. As you know, the boulevard does not look good. There's a lot of dead stuff there. If they're not spraying for bugs, we don't know. Russ met with a vendor today to kind of look at some things and get some proposals. We're going to get some different proposals from a few different vendors,
So
just for a few things.
well, that was gonna be my question. Are you asking to replace Juniper?
No.
Okay.
Well, again, when we put it on October's agenda, we're gonna lay out a bunch of different scenarios. I mean, yes, one of them will be if the board wants to go out to RFP. the same as you would for any vendor, but we're laying out things, and that was at the request of, Mr. Tucson. Cause they've been working on stuff since what, February?
Seems like it.
Yeah, and some stuff has been done and some stuff just hasn't, and it's not getting done faster. He also brought up, which I think some of you may or may not be aware, and I don't want to get too much on the record about it, but there were some issues with some cops and things called, with some fighting over there. And so there's just been a few different things. So regardless,
With
it
their
will.
staff.
Mhm.
Okay,
And it will be not that, but so in October, if you see Juniper on there, that's what it is. It's not going out to RFP or anything like that. It's just some different scenarios. And then Tom wants to talk about kind of, they developed a plan back, I think February, he said, even when Brett was here, and they have not accomplished some of those things. So he's concerned.
So I will ask the question on the record, is there anything that you would materially change in the RFP from what we wrote last time that we're going to decide in October we want to do that?
If
Needs to have work.
If you do decide that that's what you want to do, I would definitely add in the language of safety,
MOT,
that kind of stuff. Other than that, I think your
I would,
RFP is good.
I would, and just certainly the weight of the board here, I would ask that entire staff take a look at that document from last time, from a field perspective, from a legal perspective, from a management
Yeah.
perspective. I would not want to waste another month if we all come out of, or majority of us come out of the next meeting and say, hey, we want to do this. Let's do the homework now on it.
Yeah, other than that, I mean, I think the only thing that's not in there, which isn't really in, I mean, as far as, I mean, I'm sure you know too, in standard landscape contracts, there's really nothing in there that addresses like safety and stuff that I've ever seen, but I think that in this case, I think.
Don't stand in the middle of the road.
Well, there is, but not to that degree.
Not specific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not specific, but I think you could be specific just on your past
Let's
experience.
comply with all laws.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the best comply, but we do have some language
Yeah.
for safety and for, MOT if you're doing work in a road.
Well, and I
that's
don't,
gonna be
I don't
more
want to take on our
temporary.
response. I don't want us to take the responsibility of dictating what safety is. I think
Right,
there's some reasonableness language there. If you guys are professionals, you should know what safety is. But oh, by the way, me seeing your guy do what he did with the ATV and standing in the middle of the road ain't it.
And there's language that they'll train their people and make sure their people are.
Yeah.
Following the safety protocols.
Okay, yeah, well, safety protocol, but they have to be fine.
correct. And
Exactly.
that's my point, is if you want something specific in there based off of
Yeah.
what we've experienced.
And
that's
honestly,
all.
I think those exist. It's things like you have to wear a reflective vest.
Best,
A lot
you
of
have
that's
to-
already in there.
Yeah,
It does
long
talk about the
sleeve.
uniform standards.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So uniform standards, I'm out of curiosity, I'm not sure exactly what the right answer is to mow a median.
You know, not standing in the street while you're doing it's
Well-
probably part of the answer.
Thank you, but what? What is, I mean,
well, you gotta get the mower there,
Yeah,
right? You
not-
gotta get the
Not
mower.
not driving unlicensed
Yeah.
vehicles on roads.
You
well, we know what
you gotta
not to do.
trailer-
I'm just.
You got to trailer it out there.
If I'm Mr. Juniper, I'm like, all right, now, thanks for telling me what not to do, but then how do you expect me to
Get
do
a
it?
trailer and trailer it out there. They've got trailers that they can put their mowers on the back of.
And park it.
Are you gonna trailer to every median?
It can cross them, I mean.
That's,
They can
yeah,
cross
no,
the
valid
line.
question.
And then how
And
do,
this is why-
we've got 6 mules right here in this garage, how do we get Island Village?
Well, let's take our stuff separately because that was my other half of the comment, but for the Juniper piece,
Yeah,
I mean, the honest answer is you will comply with all laws, you'll do something within reasonable standards, blah, blah, blah. That's on them to figure that out.
Don't drive like-
well, when the girl got hit, I mean, she got pretty injured. She was in the hospital for a very long time and then she got hit again. You would think that they would have taken a little bit more precaution, but, regardless of that, so that'll be on and then
Yeah.
you guys can discuss it. And again, it stems from what I'm talking about is a plan that Tom Tucson, Russ and Brett had put in place with Juniper to get done. And I'm talking about work related stuff. And that's kind of what he would like to address and would like them to come to the meeting in October, and I'll request that as well.
But if you can let Tom know as well, kind of the discussion here.
Oh, definitely.
I'm requesting again, on open comment from the rest of the board, I would like to know that staff comes into the next meeting of, hey, if you want to go to RFP, here's what we're recommending.
Oh, okay, that's fine. The other piece of that is exactly what you're
Yep.
leading into. We do have mules, ATV, whatever we're calling them. Yeah, our staff uses those. I'm sure you've seen them around town. They do ride on the sidewalks. And Celebrations rules are no motorized vehicles on the sidewalks. If we were to have to trailer those to every single location to drop them off, I mean, you're talking about a huge hindrance. However, rules are the rules, but I'm letting you know that is currently how we operate and have operated for, I don't even know how long.
What do we
Way
use
before
the
me.
fuel for that we can't use a Ranger pickup truck?
So,
Or a license.
ECD collects to get water data,
Is that?
water meters.
yeah,
What's the-
ECD uses them to go and do stuff, but I'm talking about celebration staff, picking up trash, emptying dog stations, putting a pressure washer on the back to go and pressure wash downtown,
All the
boardwalks.
doggy pods, all
So
the.
Yeah.
if we were to get some of the NEVs, kind of like what Croa has, where they've got it's like a 6'6" box on the back.
What's the difference?
One
Technically.
of them's licensed and one of them's not.
Yeah, NEVs are street legal and
Yeah.
yours are not, right? Is that
Can
the
we-
difference?
Can we slap a license plate on our mules?
No,
No,
you
you
get,
have, to have headlights. There's a whole set of things
Got
you have to have.
headlights and all that, got everything of.
Oh, that's what I'm getting at. Maybe they already have.
If they
Yeah.
can be licensed, great. Why haven't we licensed?
I don't think they're licensable.
Yeah,
Do they have
I
turn
don't think they're
signals on it?
licensable.
I think they're
the
intended just
statute's
like
pretty-
farm equipment.
Yeah, the
Everything.
statute's pretty specific.
But they do have blinkers, headlights, brakes, seat belts. They have all of those
It
things.
might be licensed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we can check.
So
Yeah.
I would ask if you can check that. If not, I don't think it's good being a government organization if we're saying we need to drive on these roads, but we don't have vehicles to do it. If the district needs to buy licensed legal vehicles, then we need to do that.
That's in the Croa charter. It talks about utility vehicles being
I don't
used
care
for.
about the Croa charter. I care about state law.
Sheriff
And
knows
safety.
about it, I
Yeah.
mean, they've known about it for 25 years.
Well,
Yeah, they pass by
I guess I'm
and go
gonna say it out loud.
We've even talked to them about.
A week before the conversation about Juniper doing this, I had a conversation with the sheriff's captain saying, hey, by the way, I'm not trying to bust your chops, but you guys aren't. I mean, he made the comment to me a week before Juniper did the video they did. So, I mean, it's,
So I'll call
Yeah.
and I'll ask if they're licensable. Like I said, they have blinkers,
Mhm.
brakes.
Yeah, I can give you the
all that
statute. We've looked into it for golf cart communities, trying to get them licensed.
Okay.
It was a process.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah.
We'll have to
Okay.
react to that.
but I'd say if in parallel with that, if you find out in the next day or two, you can't license them, take a look at alternate, whether they're NEVs or small pickup trucks or something, what is it we would need to do? Because I don't want, to Russ's point, I don't want them to have to trailer to every block. That's stupid.
Yeah.
We need
Yeah.
something that's a practical solution. If we need to buy some vehicles to do it, then that's what we need to do.
Yeah, and I mean, Infomark, how many trucks do we have out here? 12?
Trucks, there's probably 12. out
12. I
there.
mean, we already have 12 Infomark trucks, like concrete guys, they use it. These are strictly pressure washing, dog trash, that kind of stuff.
Well, that's why I think like what Crow's got with those NEVs might work. I don't know. I need you guys to tell us.
They're street legal.
Yeah,
NEVs are, yeah.
Jeez, like, I don't know.
they
Like,
are.
Up to what
Angel, they are, but they're.
Yeah, the other thing
Yes,
is.
that's
is
the
speed,
other
right?
part of it.
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
Usually only up to 35,
Listen, NEVs are licensed. I own one. I've got a plate
Yeah.
on the back of
but you can't drive those.
They're not street legal for Celebration Boulevard.
Right.
it. Correct. Right. But we're not, I mean, I don't think that's what we're talking about taking them. I mean, you guys have.
Well, exactly.
That's the biggest part.
I
Yeah.
don't think Nev's the answer, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll find out, yeah.
I'll see what about what with what we currently have and look at maybe some alternatives. I mean, we already have 12 trucks that
Yeah.
you guys don't pay for. They're Infomark fleet trucks that all of our staff uses. So I don't know that adding more trucks is the answer to make
No.
Celebration expend money on vehicles when we already
Yeah.
forward you 12,
Might,
you know,
might already have the assets here.
so we just may have to change what we do and it just might take a little longer and
Yeah.
those things,
Figure it
but we'll find out.
Ross, can we get you a moped?
We could use Vespas, maybe with little baskets on it or something, yeah.
All right. All right, so those were the two field issues, the comments that I had. So.
I'll add to that, and I realize this is a little late, or horse out of the barn, having to put it, but for palm tree trimming. I don't think I like the idea of trimming all the palm trees when it's 60% through hurricane season. Is there a reason why we?
Doing it every 6 months is what.
Well, I know, I'm thinking next year, can we adjust it to like June?
To right before hurricane season?
Yes, that's what I'm getting.
Okay, that's fine.
I think we can be a little smart about that. And then last Friday, I noticed that they were doing it at 10:30 at night.
They do it at night, otherwise it's gonna be about I forget what it was, $15,000 extra in cost for MOT.
MOT. We addressed this last year
yeah.
too.
About this contract.
Okay.
And
But-
speaking of that real quick,
Yeah.
one resident did call the sheriff's 3 times. And when the sheriff went down there, they said, keep trimming. The same guy every year that complains.
I get it. Are we violating any noise ordinance?
According to
Are
the
we-
sheriff's not, cause he
Yeah.
told the crews to keep on trimming.
Are we sure? That's the last thing that I want to get down in our head is that we're violating our own noise
Yeah,
ordinance.
if the sheriff said, okay.
Yeah.
They're pretty, yeah.
I mean, there's been
they're
residents
pretty
that
tough.
called. This came up last year where, you're doing this at night or, this, that, and the other.
30-minute conversation.
Yeah, it was a long conversation.
All right, as long as we're not breaking any rules.
And we can double check just to be on the safe side.
I think we boiled down 30 minutes to 1.
And a moped and a noise meter. All right, legal counsel, Dan, what do you got?
The other thing we had was Arnco. They came out immediately when we called, but it obviously, things were fixed. I think we're also getting into the comments they made that, how much of this is old and how much of this is new with the hurricanes, et cetera, et cetera.
That's old. And then it was leaking in the, where the glass tables in there were really
And
bad.
those are still the same 2 spots.
And that's new.
Okay.
This is new to me. I haven't
That's
seen
not new
this.
to me.
Okay, because I haven't
That's
seen
leaked
this
there
in
before, and
2
that
years.
same spot.
National Hammer continues.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there's a dormer right above it too.
And that's probably part of the problem.
Before this leak happened, I did ask Angel a couple days ago to refresh the engineer's quote that I think was about 12,000.
Yes,
That's
and
valid.
he can do it, but he would not be able to get out here. They're swamped.
Like everybody, but
Seems like it makes sense to get it on the calendar, because this
Yeah.
is, I mean,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And the rainy season's gonna end in a month.
Mhm.
and
So
just, putting up more food in between the
Yeah.
shingles is clearly not helping. It's
Yeah,
either
let's
a
get an
design
expert out
issue
here.
or there's something going on.
Okay,
But I would like to, Jan, as much as you can lean into Arnco and say, this is your bill to pay, because you guys haven't, we've had you out multiple times, and I realize they're gonna
Yes,
push
they-
back, but this is a fight I'm willing to start
Okay,
fighting.
we're on, I haven't released, the insurers asked if they could be released, and I'm like, no, we're still,
they're
we're
just,
still
Yeah.
investigating.
have we confirmed there's no design defect?
that's what we
That's what
wanted
the
to
engineer-
do first. But the board voted to just let Arnco come because they were the original contractors, see if they would just fix it before you had to do that.
That was
And
Arnco, that was my first response.
Yeah, they've
No
been
problem.
very cooperative, considering.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, all right, do we need a motion on the engineer?
yes,
I'll make a
and I
motion.
can't find it to tell you the exact amount.
I'll make a motion.
It was
for
pretty
whatever amount
substantial.
He comes up with, I think it was 12.5,
Yeah.
I think, or
An
6.
engineering report to.
That's to come out and look at the entire building and see if there is a design issue or what the actual issue is.
Second.
Discussion, all's in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay,
So
I will get that on their
Like
books.
you wanna do something before you do anything up there, starting a whole new, that.
Before the work upstairs, yeah.
Before you try to build that up and everything.
Mhm.
So look at 6 grand next time it rains, I'll climb all the way up and find out where the water's coming from.
I mean, the good news is it's gonna take a while to get permitted plans to do any sort of improvement.
But yeah, I
Second
still
floor.
say, that's how I would do it. I would wait and see what kind of, if we have a defect, what's going on before we start trying to
Well, we know,
build anything up, even if
we-
it takes a long time, because I understand.
Well, it leaks upstairs in that room too.
It does.
Yeah, the
Okay.
round table out here, that's one wall, so at least on both sides of the wall.
and I'd like to have the engineer's report, so if we are doing construction inside and on the roof, that we're least have the right reports to do that stuff in parallel, not do one and then having to guess the other.
Okay.
Anything else from
No, nothing
you
else.
then? In here?
It's a couple, you've got my monthly, report in the agenda, and I highlight some of the for us and how to do it. Have any questions on that? Second thing is, I think was circulated was some real preliminary plot plans of Civic Order Track F, Lot 2, and Celebration Island Village, strip of land there by the K-5 school for Little League fields. Follow that out, I've got some extra copies here.
I'd like to see it. It wasn't in the packet.
No, it's just emailed it.
I didn't see it.
Basically, we did locate the survey that was done for Lot E2, that's the end of the Civic Order, and we talked about it at the Borough meeting last week. This was actually done before the Borough meeting. But basically, we were just kind of looking at, just kind of get a feel of the size of the property, the shape of the property, what might or might not fit there. So the first page is the Lot E2 property with a little bigger than Little League. This is at a center field of 250 feet. I think we ended up settling on going with a 200-foot park on that.
Which is the same size as the K.
Yeah, the same as the K8, which is basically the second page. So you can see they're a little smaller. Just to see how they would fit. Obviously the shape of the property with the existing pond there is difficult. You do have some room kind of down at the bottom or the southern part of it, but that's where your access is going to be coming into that site. See the mast arms are located on the survey for the traffic signals right across the Celebration Boulevard going to Point Village. So we've started working on trying to squeeze in a little parking lot there, and that's crazy information stuff. But yeah, this was just kind of what was preliminary, and just so people can kind of see what we're up against and what the site looks like.
Mark, real fast, where would the entrance or the access to Celebration Boulevard North Village be?
It'd be the southern field. It's yeah, it'd be kind of right directly.
Oh, traffic signal box.
Yeah.
Flash you.
Yeah, they basically be straight out from the diamond on that field, and just go straight towards the road. There's that group of text that says.
Right by the electrical wall, just above.
Yeah, not quite that far north, but yeah, it's at Celebration Village.
It says traffic signal box call out.
Traffic signal box, yep, right there. So there'd be some potential relocating of some of those elements that are in there.
This is
so it's tight. I think we could maybe squeeze a small parking lot in there. The north field, we do still have that same 50-foot gas easement that everybody loves running along there. So might be a portion of the field over that, but dugouts and whatnot, probably not so much, but it does get into that DOT pond.
Yeah, just from a design perspective, baseball fields go north-south, not east-west. That makes it
For signing, this one is north-south down here.
Yeah.
This one faces east, but in the afternoon, I don't know how tall the trees are here out in Situ Canal, but yeah.
So it's either or, you're not putting two.
We were trying
Are we
to
trying to put two?
that
Oh, okay.
was the thought, was to try to see what two would look like.
Yeah, the discussions I had with Little League going into our workshop was they would like to be able to get two of these, understanding that there's nowhere that we've identified as a lot yet that would get a 315-foot fence by 380-foot fence in the middle field, which is what the high school has, which is what they need for their junior leagues or basically their older kids. But they were Alec Ross from CLL was very supportive of the idea. Hey, if you can get me two new fields that are the same size as what's at the K today, along with some bathrooms and a parking area, so that would be, the league would be very supportive of that.
But still no softball for girls, so can we fit that? I don't know what that looks like, we don't have softballs right now.
Softball is at a 200-foot field?
200, yeah.
So these would be.
And that, you could use that?
These are 200s,
Oh.
yeah, so.
But parking, you're gonna need enough for 4 teams.
Well-
That's the problem.
Parking.
Yeah, we'll have to kind of really see how much parking can fit in there. I have reached out to Jim Parker on this site. He's getting back yesterday or today. So the floaters in the office to kind of see if they were gonna be able to putting fields here, it's the historic discussion about.
Yep.
Also reached out to the fire marshal. One thing they may want is access to that north field, which are similar to what you hear of the soccer fields, you know, the fire access route
Stabilized.
with a hammerhead down and that would start to become difficult to squeeze in there, and stormwater management might be an opportunity to drain some of this to that pond, but it's a DOT pond or some permitting, but I envision some sort of dry retention swale along Reedy Creek. Drain to that soak in. They reach out to Reedy Creek as well, and they said, you know, as soon as you kind of have a plan, talk about it.
Mark, this kind of the rectangular at an angle there, the canal C2. I know that's owned by Reedy Creek, but is that land, aside from the fact they own it, is that land useful to this solution or no?
There's a drainage canal through there. You know, there's a canal that comes through here. Reedy Creek goes to the end of that canal, continues. There's actually a piece of flowage easement that's not shown on here. That was something I want to get our survey to get in. It kind of fills in that triangular piece there, where it has a small LE2 on it. A lot of that
LE2, yeah.
There's a flowage easement that kind of connects those corners there. But yeah, that's a drainage canal. It goes all the way up into Disney, cuts through, goes underneath the main bridge in town, and then goes out to the swamp. The other tracks, track E1 to E4, to those are conservation wetland and buffer tracks, because it's one is wetlands and two you've got the drainage canal slough.
Pretty much off limits.
Yeah, it'd be difficult. Plus, and there is a substantial amount of floodplain out here too, that between the C2 canal or the property line and the pond, there's a flood line in there that's about half that. So we're starting to look at that, see how much floodplain volume would be displacing there, where we maybe put it in a day brief the joint meeting. And Dave and I are, once we kind of get a better site plan put together, where we show some parking in there, get some of these other questions, we as soon as tomorrow, Thursday, that time they you kind of look at it. We got that big fabriform weir that comes out of the pond.
Is that what you're talking about on the left hand side here?
Yeah, the little honeycomb hatched area there. That's the big old, concrete overflow thing. It's got a skimmer in front of it. All the drainage out of the pond comes right there, right across the site. So could try to relocate it up to the north corner, but then it's awfully close to inflowing pipe and something like that. It's short circuiting. Pushing abatement. Water quality of the pond, with water coming in from 417 would immediately go out. There has a chance to really settle out. So it's not an easy piece of property. It's oddly shaped, but we'll keep chugging at it to see what kind of see what sticks and what.
So the reason where, I mean, we had talked now 6-8 months ago on the land back behind the K5 school that we own. Well, we had started an initial discussion there, and I'd done a walkthrough, we did the engineering study with Mark done with the gas lines and all that. There was a discussion there as well. I had initially had with Reedy Creek. So if you think, so the school's here, you've got the CDD track runs like this, and then there's an RCID track right where the power lines are at, and then you got I-4 up on top. We initially had some conversations with Reedy Creek several months ago about whether or not they would be interested in allowing us to do something, whether it was ball fields or something else on top of that, tied to the idea of us developing that land for some sort of park amenity. I had a conversation recently, obviously with their shifts between Reedy Creek and CFTOD now. Did have a conversation with their district manager about 3 weeks ago, and have some follow-ups with him. They may be interested in allowing us to do either a land swap or building over top of that or something. So again, no commitments on that, but if this does not come through, I think there still is an alternative that I talked about with Mark. I don't think we've got into there.
Yeah, keep going to the packaging. I've got kind of the same size fields, the 250 and 200s on the K5 parcel back there now. Which, we've kind of sketched in the approximate location of the
Third page.
boundary. So you can see the fields would take, would require the Reed Creek property to fit in there. You still got to figure in stormwater management access.
I just realized, is there any way to put lights on this field?
Over here.
Under the K5. I think nobody answered that question because I don't think you're allowed any structures like that in this power line.
Well, you've got already lights running along the school fence line there. We could tap off some of those. I mean, we're
Yeah, but if you're lighting a baseball field, it's got to surround.
that angle is surrounded that.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into that level.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't. It's
I mean, if we would do this, and that was part of the initial conversation we had with the gas company. They weren't saying no to anything. They said they wanted to see the sign.
well, gas is one thing. It's the power company. They're not going to allow it, but probably why that community church doesn't have lights. Right.
So anyway,
So you got those two options in the back last few pages, which just actually the roof survey that dug up.
okay. Any questions for Mark? All right. Liaisons. Jack, anything?
No.
All right, don't really have anything from a management side. I think we already covered most everything. Mr. Dave.
Let me check my cheat sheet. I'm assuming we haven't gotten anything from our hurricane FEMA claim.
No.
Have we digitized all of our documents?
They're a little over 75% done. Whoops. Oh, battery's running low.
Can you do these in supervisor comments? We're just doing these.
Oh, I thought we were. Okay.
You're in liaison?
We're not there.
No, I already talked about latest.
There you go.
I thought everyone on the same.
Yeah.
Right.
I would, and I mean, along the lines of liaisons, based on the conversations with Matt, I mean, just what I've been talking with Angel in the past few months, like us turning stuff over. With the corporation potentially winding down, maybe, depending on what happens with Pro as well last night or tomorrow night. I would like to ask Dave to take on a liaison role with all things Island Village and Mattapan, because his background with Mattapan out there. To work with staff and kind of keep us ahead of the curve on some of these issues and what's in the interest of the board. I think would be useful as we start getting into future development phases in particular. I mean, I love the idea you had with the tree root barrier thing. I think if you're a little bit more formally intertwined with staff to be able to preemptively see problems and make some recommendations.
Yeah, and that prompted the original question to Jim about making this a concerted effort. It'd be much better.
Was formalized.
Yeah, and it would join.
Yeah. So I would.
We used to have 1 o'clock meetings here with
We'll
Mattamy
probably
and us, so we probably
start
should
that
start
pretty
those
soon
again.
with
Yeah.
the new phase going on.
Well, and those kind of come and go in waves. I mean, and again, from a board perspective, none of us were involved in that. That was you. And I think that's important that you guys are there, but I think having somebody from the board there as well, particularly Dave's background and knowledge, I think is very useful to help.
Well, yeah, you just have to let us know because we were having them at like 1 o'clock and I'm sure you have
Keep doing it at 1
a
o'clock.
real job that
Yeah.
probably may not allow you to join 1 o'clock meetings, but maybe we could arrange it.
And Jim, who's going on the Crow side? Or do we
I
know?
think it's Charles.
Jared, isn't it?
I think it was either Jared or Charles. But I'll confirm that.
It's just-
back to you.
You should play in the calendar game and finding it.
Okay,
I'd like to make a motion that we ask Dave to be duly anointed for that.
Second.
you don't need a motion.
Okay,
Definition.
then you've been duly anointed.
I am Jim.
Cover
Well,
Well, from
there you go. I knew somebody would get that.
All right, discussion items. Now you can do.
All right, yeah, I jumped the gun on that. Sorry. What was I talking about?
Digitization.
Yeah, digitization. Yeah, 75% complete. All right.
Yep.
Got it.
Got it.
Connex.
Still waiting on Harmony to pull the trigger. They're getting violations. They don't So what it is you guys rent two of them.
Oh, okay.
One, I'm
And
sorry,
they're gonna buy one.
One is somebody else's that we have. And you can buy them for as much as y'all been renting, y'all probably could have already bought 12 of them. And they're willing to sell theirs for $2,000. We already got a quote to move it. And I'm just waiting on them to say, yeah, take it. And it's the same exact thing as we have sitting out here. We would send that back and stop paying a rental fee every
How
month.
much is it for us just to buy one new?
I could look into it, it might be.
6, I thought.
Could use 1, 5, 6.
5,000-6,000 bucks.
Last time I checked.
Yeah.
Let's pull that quote. If Harmony's dragging their feet, then let's just bring it up as a motion at the next meeting.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
need to
you're
buy one.
renting it. It doesn't make sense to keep renting it when you
Well,
can
that
just
rental
buy
company, How
one.
much would they sell to us for?
I don't know that they would, but we can ask.
They're not very cheap, mobile money.
Well, my point is, if you can come up with some options,
Yeah.
we've been waiting
Yeah,
on
there's
Harmony
other
now.
companies.
Months.
Yeah.
There's other companies we can get
Yeah.
them from, but you're better off purchasing one as opposed to continue
Yes,
renting.
please.
Yes.
Got it.
And I don't know if I'm gonna get daggers on this, but have you heard about eminent domain recently?
Yeah, I haven't gotten an update in them. It was probably 2 months ago. I'll ask for another update, so I'll send it out to everybody.
Remember you said you
Yeah, we-
expected this was gonna be a 6 or
Yeah,
4 month process.
exactly. You get an offer and then they have engineering and their folks all look at the offer to see what they can do from the offer. So it's a long process, but I can see if there's any updates.
Offers going up with inflation.
Right.
That's good. The longer we wait, the better it gets.
Mm,
But I will get an update.
No daggers, what else you got on your?
No, that's it.
Sandra, you got anything?
I just noticed in, Mark's, bill that you went to the school district. Was that, why did you go to the school district?
That was a meeting
It
here.
was a meeting here.
Oh, it was a meeting here
Yeah.
because of,
That was a discussion from the land at the K-8 after we had the workshop. We had said that we wanted to
him
pursue a
too.
conversation with the school district, between Mark, Jan, and Angel.
But I thought you were just working on on F2 or whatever that lot we're just talking about. I didn't know, I'm just thinking about the cost.
This,
And
this,
then how many meetings have you gone to with the school district?
I went to the one with the school
Just
district.
the one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because I knew we voted on that, but I didn't know, I just want to make sure that we're using district resources appropriately, that's all. That if the board hasn't voted for Jan or Mark to be involved in something, that's just really an idea before we even get to, if we haven't voted on it, then we don't need to use them until the board votes, I want to make sure we're using our money wisely, that's all.
I think the point is we can't get to a point of voting on anything unless we've got the expertise in the room to help us get to the point of knowing. what we're
We'll have to, just hash it out, talk about it and see, but let us vote, before any of us just say, okay, Jan, I need you come over here, or I need you come over here.
This was-
I
this what
think we
did.
need
This
to
was-
do that.
This was discussed in the workshop.
I didn't know he was going anywhere, even if it's coming here, you're charging.
was-
So
this was
it's not
discussed.
free, but that's my comment. I'm not, saying you're doing anything wrong or anybody's doing anything wrong. Just want to make sure that we're not using district resources such as our lawyer or engineer or somebody without the board vote. That's all.
I think we have. Jack, what do you got, sir?
Nothing, sir.
All right. I had 2 other things. One, just Angel, kind of a quick update on GoGov. So I know we're still waiting, obviously. I think Crow has got it in their packet tomorrow to ratify the contract.
It's on the consent agenda.
Okay. So we did send over after their last meeting, a draft contract, the same one we got Enterprise for, so.
Yep.
We have not done any progress with rollout. I asked staff after Crow's last meeting, I asked them to pause on doing any GoGov rollout, because I would like to do it all as one shot, so.
So, I mean, we still have it up. We're still getting tickets in and we're handling the tickets as they come in. Crow's piece is in there. Jose, the people are in there, I should say. It's all set up and ready to go, but I think it's really gonna determine when Crow is gonna stop, sell a service, and it's gonna merge over, or we're gonna run both of them simultaneously. I
Now,
think
what
that's,
you wanna do.
yeah, I
So-
think that's what we're
Yeah, no,
waiting
I think
on.
Once we get the contract approved, we should,
Slowly phase it out.
we should decide on a go live date.
Okay,
Well,
yeah,
and-
so that's where we're at.
And I think that's a good point. So the first thing I'd like Angel to do after your board votes on it, if we're good to go, is certainly getting with Lauren and her team to make sure, obviously their tech committee was involved in the setup, but making sure that Lauren's team is understanding the operation side and their.
They should be. Jose was on every call. I think he's very much up to speed on what needs to happen. He's very up to speed on the intricacies of GoGov. He was a part of every call, everything that we did. He provided the information from Service and Croaside for us to put into GoGov. So I know he's very much up to speed, and I think he would be the one to expand it onto the Croa team, no?
Yeah, he would lead
Okay.
that. I would like, we should talk about administration, co-administration, things
sure.
like that. So there's some logistical things that
Yeah.
we need to talk about and agree on before we set a go live date, but a
Yeah.
lot of the work is done.
Yeah,
I think
it
we
is.
just need to do a final pass
Mhm.
and take any feedback that you guys have received